Paris, and he was in fact in Paris.
In news from the rest of the world, President Nicolas Maduro orders a 10-day block on access to X in Venezuela.
There are no survivors after a plane with 62 on board crashed in Brazil.
In headline sports, Jamaican athletes failed to add to the country's medal count on day 9 of the track and field program at the Paris Games.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the exchange rate between the Jamaican dollar and its U.S. counterpart has hit the highest mark since the Bank of Jamaica BOJ started collecting records. $1 is now being sold for an average of $158.12. Why? We'll be joined by chartered accountant Dennis Chung and development economist Dr. Christian Stokes.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, is $2 million a sufficient fine for JPS missing the August 12 deadline? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide90FM.
At 6:40 in the nation's business, the Ministry of Health is urging Jamaicans to remain vigilant as COVID-19 is on the rise. President of the Medical Association of Jamaica, Dr. Leslie Mead, will join us.
At 7, it's Paris Connection with Wayne Walker.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, nationwideradiojm.com, and on the Nationwide app. Available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Friday afternoon, it's Friday, August 9, 2024.
News at 5 is brought to you by Fostrich Company Limited, fostering rich customer service.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The Energy Minister Darrell Vaz says the $2 million penalty the Jamaica Public Service Company JPS may face for missing the August 12 deadline for the full restoration of electricity is woefully inadequate. The minister was reacting to the Light and Power Company's announcement on Thursday that it will not be able to restore electricity to sections of St. Elizabeth before August 31. As we hear in this report from Nora Gay Banton, the minister believes the threat of a penalty is no deterrent to what he sees as JPS's poor progress since the July 3 passage of Hurricane Beryl.
Days have turned into weeks, weeks into a month, and now JPS says residents of St. Elizabeth will have to wait longer, nearly 2 months to be exact. That will be how long sections of the Breadbasket Parish will be in darkness. The Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, had threatened JPS with sanctions if it failed to meet its previously promised deadline of August 12. Under the OUR's governing law, that sanction amounts to a maximum $2 million. Powerless to intervene in what amounts to a regulatory matter, the Energy Minister is lamenting what he sees as the inadequate penalty.
When you look at what the sanctions are, yes, in relation to the overall cost to the customers, to the economy, to everybody, I wouldn't even equate it as a slap on the wrist. $2 million Jamaican dollars as a fine is minimal. It is, as a matter of fact, it's negligent.
Approximately 16,000 Jamaicans are still without power. That's 2% of JPS customers. The company says it has restored 98% of customers who were affected by the hurricane. The minister is taking issue with the reporting mechanism being used.
The 16,000 customers need to be restored. And this thing about percentage, when I say it pisses me off, because no percentage of an account at JPS, it's customers. So 97.5% or 94% restoration means nothing to me. Only percentage that means anything to me is 100%. And the 16,000 people are suffering, as was all the thousands of people that have been restored for more than was necessary in my estimation.
The frustration inside the Wholeness Administration has been mounting over what's seen as the slow pace of electricity restoration since the passage of Beryl. Minister Vaz says future governments will need to be empowered to intervene in emergency situations to protect customers.
That what I have gone through, I wouldn't wish it on any other minister in the future. Something has to give. It cannot be business as usual. And I must say that the OUR has to step up and play their role. They should have come out earlier. They should have come out more strident, because the fact of the matter is that what I was doing is what they should have been doing, because they have the autonomy and the power to do it. And the fact is, their excuse about not wanting to be prejudicial in relation to the fact that they're going to have to do a review after the event, that doesn't help the people, the suffering people.
Nora Gay Banton for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Minister Vaz says a lack of understanding of the role of the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, may cause some Jamaicans to blame the Holness administration for the continued lack of power. The minister was reacting to mounting frustration from some residents in St. Elizabeth who have blocked roads in recent days, demanding that their electricity be restored.
The name of the company is Jamaica Public Service, for which the government has a 20% stake. So the government divested the JPS years ago. Two, the fact that people do not know what the OUR stands for. They're not educated by public education to know the roles and functions of the OUR. So the bottom line is that everybody is looking to the government, and the government in this case, based on the regulator and the divestment, the JPS being private for all intents and purposes, the government's hands are tied behind their back.
The minister concedes that the government has been losing political capital over the slow pace of electricity restoration.
So there's a perception that the government is faltering and the government is failing the people. And that is a reality because of the lack of understanding of what the current structure of JPS is and what the current structure of the OUR in terms of the oversight and independence of the OUR. So the only thing that I can say is that I have been strident, I've been vocal, and I have been an advocate for the customers of the JPS throughout this entire Beryl saga. And I think that is seen and recognized as a genuine and not something that I'm trying to use for political prop.
Darrell Vaz, Energy Minister.
And the Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth, Floyd Green, is disheartened by news that the Jamaica Public Service Company will not meet its August 12 deadline for full restoration of power in the parish. The JPS on Thursday informed the country that all parishes will see full restoration by that date, with the exception of St. Elizabeth. The Light and Power Company says full restoration of service to the parish will be done by August 31. Mr. Green is calling for the company to provide more resources in order to reduce the anticipated delay. Siobhan Campbell has that side of the story.
Deeply concerning, that's how Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth, Floyd Green, has described the new JPS deadline for full restoration of power in the parish.
I think that's deeply concerning, and JPS really has to do a better job of accelerating the pace of the restoration effort to the parish. I think, one, that we were holding company to that August 12th deadline, and we would have had a number of meetings with them, and they would have committed to doing things, including a blitz operation, this week to try and reach that. So we're very concerned that no, that is no longer on the table.
Southwest St. Elizabeth is one of the constituencies most heavily impacted by the passage of Hurricane Beryl. A significant portion of the some 16,000 Jamaicans still without electricity hail from the constituency and the parish at large. According to the Light and Power Company, August 31 is its new timeline for full restoration in the area. But Mr. Green is calling on the JPS to dedicate more resources and personnel to the parish in order to meet that deadline.
And we believe that the JPS has to do a lot more. One, we definitely believe that the JPS needs to start a series of community meetings where they engage the communities who do not now have electricity and indicate to them why it is that they're unable to make this timetable, so that the residents would be in a better position to appreciate whatever challenges the JPS is having. Two, we definitely believe they need more boots on the ground. They had indicated earlier that they would redeploy and have at least 300 people. We haven't seen any evidence of that. And definitely the support that they've gotten from external sources has not been enough. Definitely need more boots on the ground.
Meanwhile, Mr. Green is calling for bill suspension for residents in the parish who do not have electricity.
We think that in light of this, JPS has to suspend billing for customers who do not now have electricity. It is my view that one, they should not have restarted the billing process, and two, that they need to suspend the billing process for those people who are still without electricity. I have had discussions with the new CEO, and I am hopeful by his approach thus far. We had very frank discussions, and he did commit to doing a number of the things that have been, that I have discussed here in terms of community meetings and in terms of having more boots on the ground starting next week. So we are hopeful that it will not go to the 31st and that the JPS will be able to restore electricity to all our citizens before that date.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Mr. Green, who is also the Minister of Agriculture, says the recovery of the agricultural sector is proceeding at pace following the damage caused by Hurricane Beryl.
So, we have been able to already start our recovery efforts, and already over 1,500 farmers will have gotten some form of support from the government in relation to the input support, largely seeds, fertilizer, to be able to restart their agricultural enterprise. And we are looking to start helping our fishers come next week and to start working with our greenhouse farmers in terms of providing some material support that can get their greenhouses back up and running. Clearly, the extent of the damage is significant, so it will take us some time to get to a significant number of farmers, but that work has started. The good news is that a number of farmers, even without that support, have gone back out and have started planting again, and we continue to monitor that.
He says the government has taken steps to address potential shortfalls in food availability due to Beryl.
It is worth noting also that where we have seen shortfall in our vegetable lines or in our fruits, we've already tapped into external sources. So just to ensure that we do have food security around our vegetable lines. So things like tomato, cabbage, carrot, and we've already been working with private sector partners to ensure that we have a steady supply of those items. So I know people are concerned about rises in prices, and we should see some moderation over the next few weeks as we look to ramp back up agriculture and to bring in what is needed to keep the supply consistent.
Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries and Mining. He was speaking with Nationwide News on Friday.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
13 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial is the expert in pest control, air purification, and hygiene services. Call today 876-926-4236.
The temperature by Rentokil is
32 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 out west in Montego Bay.
And what you think? Pure water we drink. Me say a pure vibe when we touching at the street. A pure water we a drink. A pure fun, pure dance and take. Right now. A pure water we a drink. I could have room temperature. Give me one more. Give me the summer hot and chilled one outdoor. Crisp and refreshing. We know that for sure. The water we drink is pure. Everybody know. Hey, hey. Refreshing and nice. Hey, hey. The best water you can find. Pure water we drink.
Friend, it's the best decision we've ever made to further our education. We finally have our dream jobs. The Students' Loan Bureau did this for us, you know. Yes, girl, it was a lot of work, but we made it. All I have to start thinking about right now is to repay my student loan, and with SLB's low interest rate, I won't feel burdened at all. Let's make sure others can achieve their dreams too.
Visit our website at slbja.com for more details and follow all our social media platforms to be in the loop.
Continuing the news. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is urging Jamaicans to remain vigilant as there's been a rise in COVID-19 cases. According to the Health Ministry, over 176 cases of the virus were reported last month. Dana Davey has the details.
The Health and Wellness Ministry says the high COVID-19 transmission is based on surveillance data among the population. The ministry says in July, the country recorded 176 cases of the virus. That's a 16% increase from the 152 reported in June. According to the ministry, Case distribution shows Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, and St. James with the highest figures. It says 25% of the recorded cases were from the corporate area. St. Catherine and St. James each recorded 18% of the total number of cases. 13 COVID-19 fatalities have also been reported since the start of the year. The ministry says it continues to recommend vaccination as the best defense against severe COVID-19 illness and death. It says doses of the Pfizer vaccine are available. Members of the public are being urged to remain at home if feeling sick. The ministry also advises that persons wear masks in public if they are experiencing symptoms. Jamaicans traveling abroad are also especially urged to take the necessary precautions. Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, President of the Medical Association of Jamaica, MAJ, Dr. Leslie Mead, says Jamaicans should remain on high alert in protecting themselves against COVID-19. Dr. Mead says there is potential for the situation to worsen.
Right, so COVID-19 is going to be around with us for the foreseeable future. It is going to continue. It may get a little worse based on what we are seeing, but I'm hoping that persons will follow the procedures that we know that will assist instead of not following the guidelines that are available that can help to decrease the spread.
He insists Jamaicans maintain basic hygiene practices to protect vulnerable groups.
We need to follow the universal precautions that helps to prevent the spread of infections generally. And all of us are quite aware of those practices in terms of wearing masks, having good hand hygiene, and even social distancing. And in particular, if we are going to be in a crowded place where the risk of infection is higher, then we should be wearing our face mask.
Dr. Leslie Mead, president of the Medical Association of Jamaica. 13 COVID-19 deaths have been reported since the start of the year.
The policeman who was mowed down by a motorist during a traffic stop on Thursday remains hospitalized in stable condition. That's the latest update from the High Command of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The police constable is assigned to the Beat Officer Patrol Division of the JCF's Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch. It's reported that sometime after 6 p.m., the constable was intentionally struck by motorists signaled to stop for violating the Road Traffic Act. It's also understood the motorist allegedly drove off while the policeman was standing by the vehicle. This resulted in the constable being hit and pinned under the car. The High Command says the motorist's actions resulted in serious injuries to the constable. The High Command also commended the attack, or rather they condemned the attack, and denounced it as a senseless act of violence against members of the JCF. It says investigations into the incident are well advanced. The JCF is urging witnesses of the incident to call Crime Stop at 311 or the Police Emergency Center at 119.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro says he has ordered a 10-day block on access to X in the South American country. Maduro accuses the owner of X, Elon Musk, of using the social network to promote hatred amid reports of the country's disputed presidential election. Associated Press journalists in Caracas found that by Thursday night, posts sent through 2 private telephone services and state-owned MobileNet had stopped loading on the site. Maduro says Musk has violated all the rules of the social network itself. In a speech following a march by pro-government groups, Maduro said the site had incited hatred. Maduro also accused the social network of being used by his opponents to create political unrest. X's press office did not immediately respond to an email from AP requesting comment.
A plane has crashed in the Brazilian state of Sao Paulo, killing all 61 people on board. There were 57 passengers and 4 crew members on the Vopas airline flight. Dramatic footage circulating on social media shows a plane plunging from the sky before a large cloud of black smoke erupts into the air. Authorities say the plane landed in a residential area, but no one on the ground had been injured. Emergency services are on the scene. The small twin-engine plane had taken off from the city of Cascavel in the southern Brazilian state of Parana, headed for the international airport in Sao Paulo. Airline Vopas confirmed its plane was involved in the accident and says there is still no confirmation of how the accident occurred. This is the deadliest plane crash in Brazil since 2007, when a TAM plane burst into flames, killing 199 people.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour: woefully inadequate.
That's how Energy Minister Darrell Vaz has described the $2 million penalty JPS may face for missing the August 12 deadline for the full restoration of electricity.
I wouldn't even equate it as a slap on the wrist. $2 million Jamaican dollars as a fine is minimal. As a matter of fact, it's negligent.
And MP Floyd Green says he's deeply disheartened by the new August 31 deadline for full restoration of power in St. Elizabeth.
The Ministry of Health says COVID-19 cases are on the rise.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
And you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by Fosrich Company Limited, fostering rich customer service.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich Lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real one. My island, we a world champion with my KFC. I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich Lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
Good afternoon, with your sports report. I am Alex Raby. Now, Jamaica's athletes failed to medal on day 9 of the track and field program at the Paris Olympics. The country's athletes contested 3 finals: the women's sprint relay, the men's triple jump, and the men's 400 meters hurdles. In the men's triple jump, Jamaica's Jaden Hibbert finished 4th with a best effort of 17.61 meters. The event was won by Spain's Alejandro Diaz in 17.86 meters. Pedro Pichardo of Portugal was second with 17.84 meters, and Andy Diaz of Italy third with 17.64 meters. Hibbert says he's contemplating withdrawing from the Olympics.
Firstly, I want to thank God for what He has done. He literally blew my mind away today. I almost qualified in the Olympics, and I'm here, standing on fourth place. I don't know
Jaden Hibbert. In the women's 4x100 meters final, Jamaica's quartet of Alana Reid, Kemba Nelson, Shashali Forbes and Tia Clayton finished fifth in a season's best 42.29 seconds. Meanwhile, Rashawn Clark failed to finish in the final of the men's 400 meters hurdles. Clark's race ended with him hitting the final hurdle and falling. In the meantime, Jamaica's quartet of Anjanette Knight, Ashley Williams, Cherokee Young and Stephanie Ann McPherson moved into tomorrow's final after winning Heat 2 in 3 minutes 24.92 seconds. And Akira Nugent will be Jamaica's only representative in the 100 meters hurdles. Nugent finished third in semi-final 3 in 12.44 seconds. Two-time world champion Danielle Williams finished sixth in semi-final 1 and Yannick Brown seventh in semi-final 2. Meanwhile, 3 Jamaican athletes who competed at previous Olympic Games were awarded medals during a special reallocation ceremony in Paris on Friday. The awardees are Callie Spencer, who was upgraded to the bronze medal for the women's 400 meters hurdles after she finished fourth at the London Olympics in 2012. The then gold medalist, Roshan Natalia Antioch, was disqualified. Spencer says she's grateful to have received her medal.
12 years coming. I'm just super grateful right now. It has been a long journey. The ladies in the race, Lashinda Demos and Hainover, we fought to get where we are today. So we're just super grateful and happy that it actually happened.
Callie Spencer from the 2008 Games in Beijing, Chelsea Hammond Ross received the bronze for the long jump. Russia's Tatiana Lebedeva, the then bronze medal winner, was disqualified. Hammond Ross described the final receiving the bronze medal as bittersweet.
It's bittersweet. You know, I wanted to get it in the stadium. I wanted to be able to hold my flag and represent Jamaica, but I'm going to take every ounce of this opportunity in Paris with the Eiffel Tower behind us. I'm grateful, and it's a long time coming.
Chelsea Hammond Ross. Meanwhile, Beverly McDonald finally secured an individual Olympic medal, getting the 200 meters bronze after gold medal winner, the USA's Marion Jones, was disqualified from the 2000 Sydney Olympics. McDonald says she was excited and relieved when she found out she was upgraded to the bronze medal.
It's bittersweet. You know, I wanted to get it in the stadium. I wanted to be able to hold my flag and represent Jamaica, but I'm going to take every ounce of this opportunity in Paris with the Eiffel Tower.
Beverly McDonald, over 10 athletes were reallocated medals at the Champions Park in Paris by members of the International Olympic Committee. IOC member Emma Terhu says the athletes competed fairly throughout their careers in the true spirit of the Olympic Games. And that's your sports. I'm Alex Swaby.
Whether you're overseas or in Jamaica, everybody wants their little piece of yard. Well, that's where a JMMB bank mortgage comes in. With JMMB, you'll get more support, more incentives, more benefits, more coverage with the JMMB insurance brokers. And also, we give you more time to repay. Your JMMB mortgage expert will answer all of your questions and guide you through every step along the journey. You're not alone with JMMB. Contact us at info@jmmb.com and learn how you can get more than just a mortgage.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real one. My island, we a world champion with my KFC, I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15 or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
Sip into the brightness of summer with Starbucks. Relax and enjoy a variety of Starbucks refreshers or indulge in a Frappuccino. We have something new for you every season. Try our new lavender white mocha Frappuccino at your nearest store. We are located in Kingston, Portmore, Ocho Rios, and Montego Bay. For more information, visit our Instagram at Starbucks Jamaica.
It's the weekend and the youth are taking over the airwaves. Yes, we are the new voices and faces of the Talk Up You radio show. The voice of the Jamaican youth right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
After a busy week of work and school, come and wine with Jamaica's #1 youth radio show.
We're bringing you entertainment, fun facts, and staying true to youth development and advocacy.
Catch the action each and every Saturday as we roll out buzzy segments. What say you?
Youth for chat.
Life skills.
Global Connect.
And Bust the Youth.
That's the Talk Up Youth radio show Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie.
Talk Up Youth. Don't miss it.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Public opinion. Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are a Jamaican. Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good afternoon. It's 5:33 and welcome to this Friday edition of Nationwide at 5, and it's the cover story, and I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And I'm Sanjay Lewis. How are you, Siobhan?
Doing quite well. I think this is the first time you and I are working together, Sanjay, since I got back.
Because you decided to go on vacation when I started.
Exactly. Well, it's good to see you, Sanjay. How are you doing?
I am wonderful, and I hope you're well.
Doing quite well myself. Well, let's get into it. We're talking about the exchange rate. The foreign exchange rate between the Jamaican dollar and its U.S. counterpart has hit the highest mark since the Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, started collecting records. On Thursday, the Jamaican dollar lost 32 cents, meaning that when trading opened on Friday morning, $1 US started selling for an average of $158.12.
This is the highest exchange rate ever for the Jamaican dollar against the benchmark US dollar. This is the third time the Jamaican dollar has topped the $158 mark.
The other two occasions were recorded on February 11, 2022, when the US dollar exchange rate hit $158.03, and February 16, 2022, when the mark was $158.02.
And the records on the central bank's website go as far back as May 1, 2006. A variety of factors influence the exchange rate, and this includes the internal factors like the availability of the U.S. currency on the market at a given time.
They're also affected by external shocks, global economies, and natural disasters. Stock markets around the world are currently concerned the U.S. economy may be heading to a recession because of inflation controls, and Jamaica is also recovering from the hit of Hurricane Beryl.
Well, meanwhile, the Jamaican dollar lost $1.51 and opened trading this morning, selling for an average of $115.29 against the Canadian. And the Jamaican gained 10 cents and opened trading this morning, selling for an average of $201.35 against the British pound. Well, joining us to discuss further, we are joined by Chartered Accountant Dennis Chung and also Development Economist and Chairman and CEO at NCS Enterprise, Dr. Christian Stokes. Gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Wonderful. Let me start with you, Dennis. Is this a record high mark of the dollar against the U.S. counterpart surprising to you?
No, it isn't. You'd have mentioned that we'd have already hit the 158 mark twice before. The fact of the matter is that it does sound alarming, but when you think about it, we typically have a depreciation of about between 2 to 5% every year, on average, and a 5% depreciation would have amounted to about a $7 movement, $7 something. So that's really how you need to look at it. And the fact that we've hit it twice before, come back down, and then went back up to it, shows some amount of stability in it. The fact also is that, we recently had news that the U.S. could be looking at a recession. People typically buy up the U.S. dollars at that time and hold dollars. So it's not really surprising to me. There are, of course, some things that we can do to address it from a fiscal point of view, but we can discuss that.
And Dr. Christian Stokes, are you of the same opinion?
Yeah. Well, let me take it from probably end up at the same place, but let me take it from a little different angle. The number itself, 158, is not. It's a number. It's neither here nor there. What we have to concern ourselves about is movements. Usually, depreciation, or that number going from 159 to 58, 59, 60. So the number itself is not important. It's the direction of movement, the rate of movement, and the extent of movement. There's nothing that I see now that would cause me to be alarmed about that. In the context of robust FX earnings on in tourism, remittances, a little spotty, but still at the levels that we would expect. So the short point is that there's nothing that I've seen that has compromised either our supply or demand for U.S. dollars to throw the market incredibly out of balance. A. B. The exchange rate influences significantly Jamaica's inflation rate. It is a focus of the central bank, and the central bank has a massive war chest to combat movements that it sees in the foreign the FX reserves that it can use if it sees that FX, the exchange rate is going to unduly impact inflation. So I see the movement. I'm not getting a pot of my chair and holding my head just yet.
But Dennis, when we look on the matter of Hurricane Beryl and the passage of Hurricane Beryl, do you think that our efforts to recover would have probably impacted the economy in some way and therefore the value of the dollar against the U.S.?
Not really. I think that the recovery has been going fairly well. It would cause some amount of inflation in the economy, and in fact, if the economy declines and your demand reduces, which is really what an effect like Beryl should do, then it would mean that you'd have less Jamaican dollars out there. I don't think Beryl really affected the U.S. dollar earnings. As Chris said, the tourism numbers are still up. They're actually reporting better than usual. So I don't think that's the impact. I think the impact really might have been the repositioning of funds because of the information about the U.S. economy, and there's a slight increase in demand. But I don't see anything alarming from it. The other argument, which I think is important to look at, is given the situation that's happening in the U.S., how does this now impact the expected reduction in interest rate, which I don't think it should derail it. But in terms of the U.S. dollar, I don't think that there is anything to be alarmed about. I mean, one could argue that a reduction in the interest rate could actually have a greater impact than what we're seeing now in terms of on the U.S. economy. But I think there are fiscal policies that can be put in place to address that.
And Dr. Stokes, I pulled up the Bank of Jamaica's latest Be-Fix-It flash sale operations just to verify some things, and they have indeed sold $30 million to various dealers and cambios at a price of $157.51. So I suppose that is supporting your notion that they're working to already correct what you would consider this slight increase, would it not?
Well, I don't know if that is in the regular course of business or if that's an intervention. It doesn't seem like a huge figure. I mean, forgive me for saying that 13 million is not a huge figure. But you have to understand the size of the economy that we're talking to and the impact. One of the things I would want to venture that I've been thinking about is that we have seen in the past where, folks see some instability rush into the U.S. dollar, or folks who may be speculating on the chance of some instability and take positions that the Bank of Jamaica has a record in the last decade or so of punishing that sort of speculative activity. So I am hoping that we're not seeing any of that now, and I would in fact be surprised if we are. But a point does not a trend, so let's see.
And Dennis, you mentioned earlier that there are certain factors there are certain things that can be put in place to pull it back, so to speak, the dollar itself. What are some of those things that you see possibly can be done now to see how we can, fix that dollar that is running away?
Well, the main import, as I've always said, is a matter of oil imports. Transportation, so, facilitating an improvement in the public transportation system is definitely one. The move that the government is making towards more renewable energy to reduce the import of oil, that's another one that can be done. So there are things that can be done to reduce the demand for U.S. dollars, because the truth is that a lot of our inflation also is driven by the exchange rate, and there are fiscal policies which we have not done in any effective way for a very long time that can reduce that. The other thing is that as we see more and more the agricultural production coming back, then it means that you'll have more locally produced goods to replace the imported goods. So those are some of the fiscal moves that we can make to do it. And I say we can do, because I don't think that our governments have been fast enough to address these issues.
Okay, Dennis, just a quick follow-up before we take the break. Despite this concern about capital flight and probably increase in depreciation of Jamaican dollar, we're not near those concerns at the moment, right? I mean, our inflation rate is where it needs to be, and just despite the record increase to 158, as it's showing that the price doesn't seem to be going to be staying there for any elevated period of time.
No. I don't think there's anything to be, concerned about right now. As Chris said, I don't see any signs in the economy that would cause any consternation right now.
Okay, so stay with us, gentlemen. We will take the break and we'll come right back.
Does your bra ride up your back? Do your shoulders hurt from carrying the weight of your breasts? These are signs of an ill-fitting bra. When was the last time you were fitted by a bra fit specialist? The bra experts at LaBelle Femme will take care of you. Drop into the store at 53 Lady Musgrave Road, Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 to 5, and you will see the difference. Or call 876-622-6091.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825 to 8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Looking for your dream property? Look no further than Century 21 Heath-Ho Properties. Whether you're seeking a beachfront escape, a cozy family home, or a lucrative investment property, our expert agents are here to help you every step of the way. With Century 21, you get the experience and dedication of a global brand right here in the heart of paradise. Visit us at century21jm.com or call 876-969-2100 today. Century 21 Heath-Ho Properties. Everything real estate.
Welcome back to Nationwide 5 on the cover story. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And I'm Sanjay Lewis.
And we're still on this matter of the U.S. exchange rate, which peaked at an all-time record yesterday. That was Thursday evening at 1.58 but now checking with the markets closing not too long ago here in Jamaica, we are now back on the Bank of Jamaica's website, which says that rate has now fallen back down to 157.82. So I want to also speak now on the matter of inflation, which I think is the more pressing concern of the Jamaican economy. Dennis Chung and Dr. Christian Stokes, while it is within the current target range of the Bank of Jamaica at 5.4%. That's between the 4 to 6% that the Bank of Jamaica is mandated to maintain it. With the passage of Hurricane Beryl and the concerns over potential food price increases and other increases, do you believe there is a potential for an inflation spike in the near future? Starting with you, Dennis Chung.
I think that
Dennis?
Yeah, I'm
you broke up there for a second.
Yeah, you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that the increase in inflation is going to be primarily short-term because of the food, the impact on the food agricultural produce. The minister did indicate that there are efforts to get back the farming to where it should be, and the replanting has started. So it's going to be short-term at best, I think. I don't think that the economy is strong enough after that inflation recedes to actually cause any increase in demand that's going to impact us negatively. In fact, I think that it is important for the central bank to look at a slight reduction in interest rates in the last quarter, or else I think the economy is going to weaken too much. So I don't see inflation as a huge concern for us right now. I see a greater risk coming from a weaker economy if we do not address the matter of interest rates.
Mm-hmm. And the same question to you, Dr. Stokes, and also, do you believe the BOJ should step in and maybe reduce interest rates?
So I think that's on the cards already. Let me say that. The governor has already indicated that he's going to, stabilize his approach to that, not reduce it, but that's certainly the direction of things. But on the matter of inflation, we have to bear in mind that Beryl devastated St. Elizabeth, the Breadbasket Parish, Manchester, so, that entire side of the island, and there is going to be a reduction in supply of certain spice, the kinds of things that are grown there, grown provisions and so on, and that is going to, that's in the context where the bulk of inflation, of the basket of goods that we use to measure inflation, are agricultural, are foodstuffs and non-alcoholic beverages. So we're going to see a spike, right? I expect it to come back down. Now, one of the things that's interesting to me, and I'm interested in hearing Dennis's view on this, is that we have. I suspect that there are times when the government allows the importation of some food items in the interest of keeping the price down for the normal consumer. which would be an interesting thing to do in this context with the whole discussion about interest rates or exchange rates rather, because that would lead to an increase in demand for US dollars, which would cause a problem from a different angle. So it would be interesting to see how that pans out. I was on a program with Minister Green, and he just indicated then that there'll be some action taken by the government, and it just seems to me that importing food, at least in the short term, may be part of that, which comes with its own problems in terms of demand for US dollars, of course. But as things stand, a spike is absolutely expected, simply because the demand is going to be considerably down. I don't think it's something that is going to be sustained over any period of time. A lot of these crops are fast growing, will be replaced. So I see a blip, but not a trend. So I'm not worried about that. The bigger risk to the economy, to me, and by the way, the flip side of the exchange rate discussion that we have been having is that exports from Jamaica are supposed to now become cheaper. Mm-hmm. So it's not something I believe we are in a position to take material advantage of, but that has to be part of the whole discussion. And why do I say that? The thing that Dennis touched on, economic stability and economic growth, and the financing of that growth, and the role of interest rates in facilitating investment for business growth comes into play. So, it's not a straightforward thing. You have to know what you're doing. You have to press the right buttons. You have to identify the problems properly. And so I would agree that the matter of growth right now is our bigger challenge.
But Dennis, let's put that to you then, the matter of growth being Jamaica's biggest challenge. But isn't the conventional thinking that if you lower interest rates to drive growth, you're essentially also inadvertently increasing inflation?
It increases inflation over time.
Yes.
Because what happens is that more money is being earned in the economy, and therefore you'll have more income chasing the supply of goods. And that is how it does it. One of the problems Jamaica has, though, is that Jamaica has a capacity on its growth. It has a capacity on its productivity. And that's a big issue that we face. So, it has improved in recent times because we've improved our capital infrastructure. But, you really can't jump higher than the roof. And what happens is that our ceiling is low relative to other economies, which is why after the recovery from COVID, we find ourselves growing at 1% to 2% every year consistently again. Because the truth is that, it's just like a car. I mean, irrespective of how much you press the gas, if the engine has a capacity of 80 miles per hour, you just can't go over that. And what we need to do, and I think what has been happening, if you look at the capital infrastructure investments that are being made, things like legislative changes and that sort of thing, is we are trying to increase that ability to grow so that we have that capacity to jump higher. But right now we don't. And therefore, even when we see high levels of inflation, you'll see that our growth is really at 1% to 2%, because we just don't have that capacity to create a lot more real growth in the economy. But certainly, once interest rates come down, you're going to find that income levels are going to go up because more people are going to borrow money, more demand is going to be out there because there's going to be greater jobs that are out there as people borrow more money, as people theoretically export more and start earning more income. And then, it gets to a point again where inflation becomes a problem, and then, they start increasing interest rates again. And that's a cycle. That's the nature of economies and the cycle. And the role of a central bank is to manage within that so that you don't have extremes at either end. But economies go through that cycle continuously.
And Dr. Stokes, one other thing that we recognize, we're hearing from two major investment banks that this week they raised their forecasts for the risk of an impending U.S. recession. Should that happen, what say you on the impact that it will have on Jamaica and the value of the dollar?
Well, that's interesting. No, just bear in mind that if we expect rates to come down, right? And therefore the assets, the U.S. dollar assets held in the U.S. are not so attractive. More of that money may come back home, which would certainly take some of the pressure off or demand locally or use locally, and in fact it will possibly increase the supply if U.S. dollar assets overseas are yielding less. Now, the question of inflation is not, our recession in the U.S. is not straightforward because we have to throw remittances in that. And if less Jamaicans in the diaspora are out of work, then that will impact the amount of money that comes into Jamaica. Again, it's a supply issue for us. So less U.S. dollars here, more Jamaican chasing less U.S. That's a problem. And more importantly than tourists, we'll have less tourists come in. Maybe they don't feel like they can afford to take a trip. So, which again, it reduces supply of U.S. dollars in Jamaica, which again is a problem for us. So we do not want a recession in the United States. I've been talking a long time about a soft landing. It can still be pulled off, I believe. But Jerome Powell, the Fed chair in the U.S., always talks about acting ahead of where the curve is, because if you start to reduce rates when employment is up and the economy is slowing down, it's too slow. So I'm surprised if in September they start some quarter point moves down. The last point I want to make is something that Dennis mentioned on the nature of the economy. Our economy is still not complex enough. You need a complex economy with a large volume of high value transactions, right? Not primary goods transactions, but high value transactions. So not just to give an example, not exporting bauxite, but exporting aluminum cans that are made from bauxite, for example, or the same thing with bananas. Just you can just extend that example. And the economy is not that complex yet, and it is a cap on our growth. So we are stuck in what they call the middle income trap. Not many companies have been able to move. Countries have been able to move from middle income to high income. Two things are important to that: labor productivity, education of our labor force, and the capital investment. And we seem more inclined to do the capital investment than address productivity of the labor force. But both must be addressed to set the groundwork to increase the complexity of the Jamaican economy, produce more high-value products, trade, consume, buy and sell more high-value products to get out of that middle-income trap. And that's really at the end of the day, that growth problem, what Peter Phillips called the conundrum, is what we face in the country, the growth conundrum.
And we could certainly go on and on about that conundrum. Dr. Christian Stokes, he's the development economist and chairman and CEO of NCS Enterprises. We also had chartered accountant Dennis Chung. Thank you both, gentlemen, for joining us this afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon, gentlemen. Next is the headlines at 6.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan, and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The foreign exchange rate between the Jamaican dollar and its U.S. counterpart has hit the highest mark since the Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, started collecting records. On Thursday, the Jamaican dollar lost 32 cents, meaning that when trading opens on Friday morning, $1 US was selling for an average of $158.12. This is the highest exchange rate ever for the Jamaican dollar against the benchmark US dollar. This is the third time the Jamaican dollar has topped the $158 mark. The other two occasions were recorded on February 11, 2022, when the US dollar exchange rate hit $158.03, and February 16, 2022, when the mark was $158.02. The records on the central bank's website go back to May 1, 2006. A cocktail of factors influenced the exchange rate, including internal factors like the availability of U.S. currency on the market at a given time. There are also external shocks, global economies, and natural disasters. Stock markets around the world are currently concerned the U.S. economy may be heading to a recession because of inflation controls. Jamaica is also recovering from the hit of Hurricane Beryl. Team manager for Jamaica's Olympic squad, Ludlow Watts, says the coach for shot put athlete Danielle Thomas-Dodd did receive a coaching pass to be in the stadium on the day of her event in Paris. Watts is also treasurer at the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, J3A. He was responding to Thomas-Dodd's allegation that the entity and the Jamaica Olympic Association did not sufficiently support field event athletes at the Games. More in this report. During an interview with Sportsmax on Thursday, Danielle Thomas-Dodd said her personal coach was denied accreditation to the training facility in Paris and was not able to access it for 2.5 weeks. She said her coach is not just a part of her training process, but is crucial to her warm-up as well. But, speaking on Nationwide this morning on Friday, Ludlow Watts stopped short of calling the athlete a liar. He disclosed that Thomas-Dodd's coach was in fact in Paris with her. He argued, too, that the national throwers coach was available to Thomas-Dodd and the other field athletes at the Paris training facility.
We are aware that Mrs. Dodd's personal coach and massage therapist and husband, the same person, works at Thames University as a massage therapist, and he traveled with her right throughout Europe. And he was in fact given coaching pass during this competition in Paris, and he was in fact in Paris. Our team arrived in Paris on July 24, and our team throwers coach, Mr. Julian Robinson, continued working with our athletes. So I don't think she's overburdened with honesty when she made a statement about not supporting throwers.
Watts says a member of the J3A coaching staff delivered the coaching pass to Thomas-Dodd's coach. He says the member shared the information in the presence of himself and 2 others. Watts says the coaching pass allowed Thomas-Dodd's coach to be at her event in the stadium. However, it's not clear if it allowed him to access the training facility.
He got coaching pass for her for her event. That's what I said. Yes. I don't know if he was in there, but he got the pass. I didn't see actual look and see him there and say he was there. I saw you there, but he got the pass for the competition. It was provided.
In terms of training, Jamaica's Olympic squad manager says Thomas-Dodd did not attend the team's preparatory training camp in Germany in July.
Our team arrived in Paris on July 24. So we had a 12-day training camp facility in Stuttgart where all facilities were provided. When I'm talking about I mean accommodation, facilities, training, and everybody who went to the camp did extremely well. In preparation for these camps, all athletes from the delegation, including their coaches, were invited. Ms. Thomas-Dodd was one of those who chose not to participate in the training camp. And I would like to say to you, amongst the participants were Roger Stoner and Rajendra Campbell. Those were medalists in shot put. Our team throwers coach, Mr. Julian Robinson, supervised their training.
Meanwhile, Watts says members of his team have sought to make contact with Thomas-Dodd on the matter. However, he's uncertain if they have been successful in speaking with the shot putter. Energy Minister Darrell Vaz says the $2 million penalty the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, may face for missing the August 12 deadline for the full restoration of electricity is woefully inadequate. The Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, had threatened JPS with sanctions if it failed to meet its previously promised deadline of August 12. Under the OUR's governing law, that sanction amounts to a maximum of $2 million. Powerless to intervene in what amounts to a regulatory matter, the Energy Minister is lamenting what he sees as the inadequate penalty.
When you look at what the sanctions are, yes, in relation to the overall cost to the customers, to the economy, to everybody, I wouldn't even equate it as a slap on the wrist. $2 million Jamaican dollars as a fine is minimal. It is, as a matter of fact, it's negligent.
Approximately 16,000 Jamaicans are still without power. That's 2% of JPS customers. The company says it has restored 98% of customers who were affected by the hurricane. The minister is taking issue with the reporting mechanism being used.
The 16,000 customers need to be restored. And this thing about percentage, when I say it pisses me off, because no percentage of an account at JPS, it's customers. So 97.5% or 94% restoration means nothing to me. Only percentage that means anything to me is 100%. And the 16,000 people are suffering, as was all the thousands of people that have been restored for more than was necessary in my estimation.
Darrell Vaz, Energy Minister. Those are the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Sports is next.
Every time, everywhere I go, multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere, spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real ones. My island, we a world champion with my KFC. I'm gonna be me, Jam Rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
My Mega
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
Together we're all people standing strong. 3 million Jamaicans, let's work as one. Such a course and work with a plan. Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. Every Jamaican have the heart of a champion. Such a core, big up with champions. Watch my style, watch my skill, watch my flow. Standing out anywhere where we go. Many goals, many dreams, many strides. All the black, green and gold, and we pride. Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. We are strong when we are one, Sagicor, celebrating Jamaican success.
Good evening with your sports report. I am Alric Swiby. Now, Jamaica's athletes failed to medal on day 9 of the track and field program at the Paris Olympics. The country's athletes contested 3 finals: the women's sprint relay, the men's triple jump, and the men's 400 meters hurdles. In the men's triple jump, Jamaica's Jaden Hibbert finished 4th with a best effort of 17.61 meters. The event was won by Spain's Alejandro Diaz in 17.86 meters. Pedro Pichardo of Portugal was second with 17.84 meters, and Andy Diaz of Italy third with 17.64 meters. Hibbert says he contemplated withdrawing from the Olympics. In the women's 4x100 meters final, Jamaica's quartet of Alana Reid, Kemba Nelson, Cecily Forbes, and Tia Clayton finished 5th in a season's best 42.29 seconds. Meanwhile, Rashawn Clark failed to finish in the final of the men's 400 meters hurdles. Clark's race ended when he hit the final hurdle and fell. In the meantime, Jamaica's quartet of Anjanette Knight, Ashley Williams, Sheriku Young, and Stephanie Ann McPherson moved into tomorrow's final after winning semifinal 2 in 3 minutes 24.92 seconds. And Akira Nugent will be Jamaica's only representatives in the 100 meters hurdles. Nugent finished 3rd in semifinal 3 in 12.44 seconds. Two-time world champion Daniel Williams finished 6th in semifinal 1, and Yannick Brown was 7th in semifinal 2. Now, 3 Jamaican athletes who competed at previous Olympic Games were awarded medals during the special reallocation ceremony in Paris on Friday. The awardees are Callie Spencer, who was upgraded to the bronze medal for the women's 400 meters hurdles after she finished 4th at the London Olympics in 2012. The then gold medal winner, Russia's Natalia Antuk, was disqualified. Spencer says she's grateful to have received her medal.
12 years coming. I'm just super grateful right now. It has been a long journey. The ladies in the race, Lashinda Demos and Hainover, we fought to get where we are today. So we're just super grateful and happy that it actually happened.
Callie Spencer. From the 2008 Games in Beijing, Chelsea Hammond Ross received the bronze for the long jump. Russia's Tatiana Lepadeva, the then bronze medal winner, was disqualified. Hammond Ross described finally receiving the bronze medal as bittersweet.
It's bittersweet. You know, I wanted to get it in the stadium. I wanted to be able to hold my flag and represent Jamaica, but I'm going to take every ounce of this opportunity in Paris with the Eiffel Tower behind us. I'm grateful, and it's a long time coming.
Chelsea Hammond Ross. Meanwhile, Beverly McDonald finally secured an individual Olympic medal, getting the 200 meters bronze after gold medal winner, the USA's Marion Jones, was disqualified from the 2000 Sydney Olympics. McDonald says she was excited and relieved when she found out she was upgraded to the bronze medal.
It's really a bittersweet moment for me, for us today to come out and represent, to get our medals here today. It's not the same as 2024 because you have the stadium and you have the audience and everything, but today it was also great. Excited, relieved, because I said after 24 years, the medal went to Jamaica like 12 years ago. They misplaced it, and my husband, Raymond Stewart, fight for me to get my medal right in the IOC, and they reply, and I'm very happy to get the medal.
Beverly McDonald. Overall, 10 athletes were reallocated medals at the Champions Park in Paris by members of the International Olympic Committee. IOC member Emma Terho says the athletes competed fairly throughout their careers in the true spirit of the Olympic Games. Egyptian Olympic wrestler Mohamed Keshu Ibrahim has been arrested in Paris for an alleged sexual assault. The Paris prosecutor's office released a statement saying on August 9, around 5 a.m., a man born in March 1998 in Egypt who was a wrestler in the Olympic delegation was arrested in front of the OZ Cafe. It is understood he was arrested for allegedly touching the buttocks of another customer at the cafe. The Egyptian Olympic Committee, EOC, named Kashu, who won a bronze medal at the Tokyo 2020 Games, as the team member who had been arrested. The EOC added he will be investigated by the Ethics Committee and could face a life ban from competition. St. Lucia's sprint star Julian Alfred continued to captivate both local and international audiences following her
naming a highway, putting up a statue, renaming the Hunor International Airport. My own feeling is it should be related to track and field. In the area in where she lives, they should in fact build a track facility where in years to come the Julian Alfred International could be held. She could also, added to that, stimulate track and field at the school and club level. There's a link towards the possibility of tourism and could be, in fact, a tourism ambassador for St. Lucia. There will be a national holiday to be announced soon.
Joseph Fred Pereira. Known for football, Jamaica's national under-15 girls football team were beaten 4-0 by El Salvador in their League A playoff in the CONCACAF Championships in Costa Rica today. Yesterday, the young Reggae girls were beaten 4-0 by Costa Rica in their final match of the preliminary round. They ended the tournament with a win and 3 defeats. This included an 11-0 whipping from the USA. Their only win was a 2-1 triumph over Haiti. Lee Carcel has been appointed interim England manager for September's Nations League games as the Football Association continues to search for Gareth Southgate's permanent successor. The 50-year-old has stepped up from his role as England's under-21 boss to replace Southgate, who resigned 2 days after defeat by Spain in the Euro 2024 final last month. Tottenham Hotspur have agreed a deal worth up to £65 million with Bournemouth for striker Dominic Solanke. Spurs will pay an initial £55 million with a $10 million in add-ons for the 26-year-old who has one cap for England. And finally in golf, Jamaica has been having a reasonable time at the 36th Caribbean Amateur Junior Golf Championships at the Caymanas Golf Course. They were first in the under-18 girls and tied for second in the 11 to 13 girls section. On the boys' side, they were second in the under-18 and 11 to 13 sections. However, they are fifth in the under-15 category. Matia Issa, who ended the first day in second place, closed day 2 tied for first with Camila Negroni of Puerto Rico. Issa made up the 5-point deficit from the opening round after scoring 7 over par 79 to Negroni's 12 over par 84. On the boys' side, Ryan Liu was still the best placed Jamaican on the course, even though he lost his position at the top of the leaderboard in the under-18 category. He still had the lowest score of the championships with his 5 under par 67 in the first round. I'm Alex Swiby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:19.
For hard-to-get medications, over-the-counter and chemotherapy drugs, visit Dean's Pharmacy Pepin. When others don't have it, we do. Dean's Pharmacy. Feeling better starts right here.
The temperature by Dean's Pharmacy, feeling better, starts right here, is
32 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 30 in Montego Bay.
Calling all ladies to Zana Ladies Expo, the ultimate ladies' day out. Saturday, August 10 at the National Arena, 12 noon to 8 p.m. Featuring over 100 exhibitors, shopping deals, beauty, fashion, food, wine tasting, health and wellness, keynote speakers, live entertainment, and more. Tickets available at ladiesexpoja.com. Gate admission $1,500, children $500. Zana Ladies Expo, August 10, National Arena. Sponsored by Massey Distribution, JPS and...
Dear residents, we understand that some of you are currently facing great inconvenience being without electricity. Due to the damage affecting your supply, the process to restore power will take some time. Rest assured, however, that we are doing our very best to ensure everyone is reconnected as quickly and as safely as possible. We kindly ask for your continued patience and understanding during this challenging time. JPS, committed to getting your service back as soon as possible.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real one. My island, we a world champion with my KFC, I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
Focused on you. Hey, family, friends, passion, joy. We're focused on you. Focus on life, focus on love, focus on health, and all the above. Imperial Optical is focused on you. So focused. Hey, Imperial Optical Jamaica, focused on you. From Taurus Riley.
For better medication management, use RX Pack mobile app powered by Heartland's RX, the convenient pharmacy. Boost your wellness status and earn 20% in your RX Plus digital wallet for all your Heartland Pharmacies purchases. Download the RX Pack mobile app in the App Store or the Google Play Store. It is easy, secure, and user-friendly. Call or knowledgeable staff on WhatsApp 876-RX0-RXRX and experience our brand of wellness simply delivered. That's Heartland's RX, the convenient pharmacy, and Heartland's RX Pack for better medication management. We deliver everywhere. Terms apply.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robeanne Williams. A special good evening to our friends on YouTube. It's a Friday evening, and you know we welcome Friday evenings because it means we not come to work tomorrow. We invite our YouTubers to comment in the comment section on our Public Opinion for this evening. So, we usually do things a little frivolously on Fridays. However, this Friday we're turning our attention to the JPS and the OUR. What's happening with electricity, especially down in St. Elizabeth? Well, the Office of the Utilities Regulation, OUR, says more than 16,000 customers of the JPS, Jamaica Public Service Company, yes, they are without electricity. The OUR recently issued a directive to JPS for all customers to be restored with light by August 12, which is fast approaching, except for the communities that remain inaccessible. Now, according to JPS, it's on track to restoring full power in all parishes by the deadline. However, it says customers in Southwest St. Elizabeth may experience a delay. A delay indeed. Now, JPS disclosed that the electricity will not be fully restored to St. Elizabeth until the end of the month. The OUR had threatened JPS previously with sanctions if it failed to meet its deadline of August 12. Now, under the OUR's governing law, that sanction amounts to a maximum of $2 million. So that's a fee JPS will pay if they miss the August 12 deadline, $2 million. Now, Darrell Vaz, well, he's lamenting the energy minister, what he sees as an inadequate penalty.
When you look at what the sanctions are, yes, in relation to the overall cost to the customers, to the economy, to everybody, I wouldn't even equate it as a slap on the wrist. $2 million Jamaican dollars as a fine is minimal. It is, as a matter of fact, it's negligent.
Energy Minister there, Darrell Vaz. So in Public Opinion this evening, we're asking, is $2 million a sufficient fine for JPS missing the August 12 deadline? I'll start with the comments on our X platform where Claude Russell saying that's not going to prevent them from doing it again, underspending on repairs and letting their customers suffer the consequences. Teacher's Child says, I would say no, but if I were to say they should be charged more, it is almost inevitable that the cost will be passed on to us, the customers. iDesign Graphics says, whether it's 2 million or 20 million, one thing I'm sure of is JPS will recoup the money they're spending on repairs from our bills in the months ahead. All right. Lance Thompson says, not even close. It is not even close to a sufficient fine. He's saying JPS did zero to prevent work in preparation for burial. That's what he's saying. That's not what JPS is saying. He's saying upwards of 10 million Jamaican dollars sounds more reasonable than 2 million. He said $2 million monkey money. All right. Sab says no. $2 million is not a sufficient fine. Elon Musk admirer says no. The sweetie money, that's sweetie money. That's what Elon Musk admirer is saying, and she's saying please make it to 200 mil and upwards. Grace Davidson says continue to hurt JPS head and see who wins. All right. If you're just joining us, we're inside the court of public opinion putting this question to you. Is $2 million a sufficient fine for JPS missing the August 12 deadline? On our Instagram platform, Sassy is saying no, 300 billion. Would you look at that? Fitzroy is saying 2 mil can't even buy a Axio. Well, when you put it that way, who you, brother, say they can afford to be charged more? Rose Petals is saying nope, but I know they have a plan. I got a text to say my account used more electricity this month than last month, but I know the bill gonna be lit. Is there a pun on that word lit right there? I don't know, it's to be without electricity for close to 2 months. That is really a stretch. Godfrey says nope. Scorpio Baby says nope. Bio says that is one customer bill. They should charge them at least 4 billion. This Jamaica is a joke. Madden Anne-Marie says my bill higher than last month, so they are charging customers to pay the fine. Shamstar says no, this is dangerous. It has to be done in a timely manner. Leave JPS, make them make time and do them work. Make them take time and do them work. Coming from Shamstar 24. Janko is saying nope, should be 20 million. Let me see. Dre is saying they're making millions of US dollars in profits. Assuming the 2 million is Jamaican, it won't have any type of impact. And Dr. Thomas is saying doesn't matter how much the fine is, or it could be all JPS is going to do is fling it pound with bill. So technically, is we the customers that will pay it over time. Wow. Okay, I'm going to turn my attention over to our YouTubers. Let me see if I can get in some. Cynthia Matheson right here is saying no, OUR is inefficient. Okay. Mick Huel is saying 2 million Jamaican, they say. Yes, indeed, it is 2 million Jamaican. 2 million Jamaican dollars. Prince Charles believes that it should be 40 million if they miss the August 12th deadline of restoring electricity to their customers. Okay. Ursuline Bowen is saying if and it's 2 million or 2 billion, the paying customers behind will shoot with bills. Okay, you're saying the bills, customers' bills will shoot up. That's what you're saying, Mr. Ursuline Bowen. Oh, or Ms. Ursuline Bowen. JPS isn't going to take the loss. And Cynthia Matheson is suggesting that we get another a light company. Yeah. Let me see if I can get in some more. Rose Chin says, is it $2 million period or 2 mil per day? Over what period? Yeah, we should definitely. I think it's. Let me see if we can bring up the previous stories. Donna Lewin is asking, can I carry them to courthouse? I think there's an avenue for that. There's an avenue for that indeed. Sonia Solomon says JPS will add the 2 million to customers' bills, so they don't care. Andrea Henry believes that a chicken feed money charge $1 million per day. Wow. Let me see if I can get in some more. Lorna Pinnock says, I got a bill for almost 20,000 when my normal bill was usually in the region of 11,000, 12,000. That is a lot. If that is so, Lorna Pinnock, that is indeed a lot. $20,000? Are we having a also? That's a lot. Coffee Jam says JPS should pay 2 mil USD. Let me see. McHugh is it's a big drop in bucket. And Ransford Kelly believes that we will pay that. On our Facebook platform, Dervan Ennis says, this is a big joke. The OUR in their pockets How comes a monopoly like JPS should be allowed to pay a mega sum of $2 million? It should be more like $2 billion. Pete Bryan says no. Natalie Winter says nothing is sufficient when you are out of light. Like I said before, you can imagine just being out of light for over 2 months. Oh my God. I don't know. And I've seen where the residents of St. Elizabeth have taken matters into their own hands, protesting the fact that they have been without light. And the JPS has been putting out releases and asking for patience and everything. And I don't know. This situation is just, untenable. Norman is saying penalty should be a percentage of revenue. Wilbert Davis says the size of the fine will only hurt Jamaicans. JPS will offset it in our light bills. Let me see. Coffee Jam says 2 mil per day. Andrea Henry says, I agree that a lot of people have lost their businesses. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Wow. Well, we're up on the August 12 deadline. We will see August 12. It's now August. Today's August 9. August 12 is on Monday, and they have until Monday to restore electricity. They have, however, JPS has, however, put out that they are on track to restoring full power in all parishes by the deadline. However, it says customers in Southwest St. Elizabeth may experience a delay. Will that delay amount to the maximum penalty of $2 million? That we will have to wait and see. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion this evening. We do not have any more time for Public Opinion, so stay tuned for the business report up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:33. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robian Oh, wow. Would you look at that? My last name. I'm Robian Williams. To the business news, patty company Juicy will open its 63rd franchise location in the newly constructed Hongwei Shopping Mall in Portmore Pines later this month. Now, according to an article from the Jamaica Observer, the new franchise operation marks the second location in Portmore, St. Catherine. The first one was set up at the Port Henderson Plaza. Now, both franchise locations are being operated by businessman Richard Mullings, and the opening of Juicy Patties in Hongwei Mall is scheduled to take place on August 31, 2024. Juicy going once more to the Sunshine City. Now, over in the UK and the US, the stock index of the UK's biggest publicly listed companies edged higher on Friday after concerns eased over the state of the US economy. The FTSE 100, which is made up of the country's biggest businesses, including banks, airlines, and house builders, rose in early trading. It follows stronger trading in the U.S., where stock markets had their best day in almost 2 years on Thursday. Now, global financial markets have been spooked in the past 7 days over fears that the world's biggest economy could be heading for a slowdown. And finally, in the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 157 Jamaican dollars and 82 cents to buy $1 US, 200 Jamaican dollars and 72 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 116 Jamaican dollars and 22 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. And that's the business report. I'm Robian Williams. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend.
Hi everyone, let's talk granting aid. Eligible targeted loan applicants may receive a non-repayable granting aid of $60,000. These funds can be used for school-related expenses such as traveling, buying food, housing, or purchasing a laptop, for example. Eligibility is determined by financial circumstances and the availability of grants. Apply early at slbja.com and be one of 4,200 beneficiaries of our granting aid.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real ones. My island, we a world champion with my KFC. I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
This back-to-school season, shop, save, and win uniforms and school supplies with Maxi Kingston. 3 lucky shoppers will win a back-to-school bundle when they shop this summer. Visit us at our Springs Plaza or Red Hills Road locations from July 22nd to August 27th and save up to 25% off school essentials. Visit maxikingston.com for terms and conditions. Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act. Can't wait to see you.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich Lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
None of mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all schoolers who are taking beats.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team. Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Nation's Business is brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Good evening. It's 6:39 and welcome back. It's time for the Nation's Business. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And I'm Sanjay Lewis.
Welcome again, Sanjay.
Thank you.
Well, we're switching over now to the nation's health. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is urging Jamaicans to remain vigilant as COVID-19 is once again on the rise. According to the ministry, over 170 cases of the virus were reported last month. Dana Davey reports.
The Health and Wellness Ministry says the high COVID-19 transmission is based on surveillance data among the population. The ministry says in July, the country recorded 176 cases of the virus. That's a 16% increase from the 152 reported in June. According to the ministry, case distribution shows Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, and St. James with the highest figures. It says 25% of the recorded cases were from the corporate area. St. Catherine and St. James each recorded 18% of the total number of cases. 13 COVID-19 fatalities have also been reported since the start of the year. The ministry says it continues to recommend vaccination as the best defense against severe COVID-19 illness and death. It says doses of the Pfizer vaccine are available. Members of the public are being urged to remain at home if feeling sick. The ministry also advises that persons wear masks in public if they are experiencing symptoms. Jamaicans traveling abroad are also especially urged to take the necessary precautions. Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Thanks, Dana. And meanwhile, the president of the Medical Association of Jamaica, the MAJ, Dr. Leslie Mead, says Jamaicans should remain on high alert in protecting themselves against COVID-19. He says there is potential for the situation to worsen. Dr. Mead now joins us. Good evening, Dr. Mead.
Thank you for having me this evening.
Wonderful. Always a pleasure. What do you think might be contributing to this recent surge that we're seeing?
Well, the COVID-19 has not, it had never left us completely, despite us going back to work and going back to our normal lives. There has always been some amount of COVID-19 infection and very small numbers of deaths from ever since. However, I think since this summer, with the increasing heat, we may have been more indoors than normal. We also see where we are traveling much more. Travel both into and out of Jamaica has increased, and all of those things certainly could contribute to an increased numbers that we are seeing now.
And Dr. Mead, certainly the situation with the cases rising, for many Jamaicans, COVID-19 feels almost like a thing of the past, even though it's essentially become endemic to the island. How much care and concern should Jamaicans take in terms of ensuring that the disease does not spread?
Right. So we were all taught the infection prevention and control measures during the pandemic in terms of using our mask, having proper hand hygiene in terms of washing your hands regularly or using sanitizers, and also even still trying to not crowd yourself when you're in lines and stuff like that, so that droplets from person behind you or in front of you can infect if they have COVID-19. So we still should practice those measures. By and large, you will realize that if you go out, whether to a function or to a plaza or somewhere, you'll only see one or two persons with their mask on. And largely those are maybe medical professionals or older individuals who realize that the risk is still there and they're trying to decrease their chances. So we really just have to be vigilant. We have to be mindful about our neighbors. And when I say neighbors, I mean the older persons among us, the persons who may have premorbid conditions, and they are the ones that are at greater risk. Those are the ones that, their body's immune response is not as robust, and they may have severe disease and may die because of COVID-19. We already had about 13 deaths for the year, with about 502 confirmed cases of COVID. So, it is still around. We are not testing as much, so we as medical professionals believe that the incidence is certainly much higher than what we are seeing in terms of the testing, because we are certainly not testing as much as we should, because the symptoms are milder, thankfully, and so it can be managed fairly easily. But you're going to have those who are immunocompromised in some way that may succumb or have very severe disease.
To what extent, Dr. Mead, are those individuals who decided to take the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine, they are protected against the new variants that we're hearing about now?
Mm-hmm. Right. So the Pfizer that the ministry has informed us about, it is the one that has been modified for the more common variants of COVID that are now present. We're not seeing the take-up for those booster vaccines as we would like, but it is available, and it can help to decrease the chances of severe disease and death. And we would encourage those persons who are in the high-risk category, those over 60, those who are immunocompromised for one reason or the other, whether cancer, whether HIV, whether uncontrolled lupus, that they should afford themselves of these booster vaccines, which will help to increase their responsiveness if they do get an infection.
And for those listening who are interested in taking up that vaccine, certainly we don't have those mass drives we used to have back in 2021. How does one go about procuring vaccination for COVID at this point?
Right. So these vaccines are available throughout the public healthcare system. What has been done since COVID-19 is that all of the vaccines are now part of the public health system. So you can go into your health centers, have a talk with the nurse or the public health nurse that is there, and they should be able to administer there, or if it's not available, can direct you to a health center that has it available. But it's really now through the public health care system.
Mm-hmm. You made mention of the Pfizer vaccine, but let's say, for example, I took 2 doses of the AstraZeneca along with the booster. Is it that those individuals who would have taken the 2 doses of the AstraZeneca along with the booster, they would need to go back to get another booster of the Pfizer?
Right. Go. Can you repeat what you just said?
No, I'm saying for those individuals who would have taken 2 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine along with a booster dose,
right?
Would they need to go back? Because initially you made mention of those who had taken the Pfizer vaccine.
Right. Okay. Right. So yes, this Pfizer that we now have has the variants that are now circulating predominantly. The original boosters, I in fact took that booster that you speak about. I, for example, had the AstraZeneca ×2. I took a booster, but this new booster that's available has antigens that can protect you against the variants that are more predominant at this time. And so, yes, it would be good that persons, particularly within the high-risk groups, be boosted with the Pfizer that's available.
And this Pfizer vaccine that is now being offered, is it different from the one that was offered in the initial stages of the COVID-19 outbreak? I know there were some concerns raised about some of the vaccines in the early days due to rare side effects such as blood clots. Was the Pfizer among those that the concern was raised about?
Well, all the vaccines has side effects. And I've had discussions, maybe on this station or other, that every medication that you take, there are possible side effects from them, even Panadol, that we take so freely. What we know is that persons who have severe disease, the vast majority of those persons develop blood clots, and that is usually the cause for their mortality, their death, or for them having to be admitted to ICU. The incidence of blood clots that you may have had with AstraZeneca or Pfizer or any of these is very, very rare. Certainly far less than 1% of persons may have had a blood clot because of it. And so you have to always look, and this is something that is taught by med students, always look at the risk versus the benefits of any medication. So even if we give you an antibiotic, there is a risk that you can be allergic to it. You can get an anaphylactic shock and die from it. But if you did not get that antibiotic, then you can also develop sepsis and die from the infection from the bacteria. And so you have to always balance, is this the risk of taking this medication, is it more than if you don't take it? And this is something that doctors are trained to do, that you have to always look at the risk versus the benefit. And the risk of taking a vaccine against COVID-19, particularly now in your elderly, in your patient that is immunocompromised, is certainly less than if you take, if you don't take the vaccine. So I would suggest to everyone who is listening to this station this evening that it is most important that we protect our most vulnerable. And this is one of the tools that's available, the vaccine. There are other tools, the public health tools, such as masking up, ensuring that if you are ill, that you stay home until the symptoms go away, or you use a mask and ensure that you don't interact with your grandparents, your elderly, and persons that you know have premorbid conditions.
I want to pick up on the issue of taking the vaccine, because, Dr. Mead, there are many Jamaicans listening who will say, what is the point of taking another booster? We were told that once we take 2 doses, we would be protected. Then we were told to get a booster, and now we're being encouraged to take another booster. Yet still, we're still seeing individuals who have taken the vaccine and the booster still contracting COVID. And those Jamaicans would say, what is the point? How do you respond to that?
Yes, but these persons are alive. Let me, for example, give you some data from Jamaica in terms of those who have died from COVID-19. Of those who have died and were unvaccinated, so they did not take any, 96% accounts for 96% of those who have died. Those who were fully vaccinated, so they may have gotten 2 doses of AstraZeneca, they may have gotten 2 doses of Pfizer, 3%. And those who are partially vaccinated, that means they get 1 dose of a 2-dose vaccine, only 1%. And so you see that those who are unvaccinated account for the overwhelming majority of deaths. So what we're saying is that you may not be free from not getting COVID. You may not be prevented absolutely. But your risk of getting severe disease and dying is astronomically high. You're more likely to die if you're not vaccinated or if you are partially vaccinated. And that is really the message. It is about saving lives that we're talking about, preventing severe disease and death. It is not saying that you will not get COVID. Because what we find is that the effectiveness over time of the vaccines wanes, and so the boosters are there to increase. And it's similar to the flu vaccine that we are giving, that is given every year. Viruses tend to have mutations over time. And what you're trying to do with these newer vaccines is to ensure that you are vaccinated based on the variants that are available in the population at the time. And that is what is happening. And so we are preventing death and we are preventing severe disease.
And Dr. Mead, finally from me, is the health system at risk, or I should say better, is it prepared of a potential surge in cases from COVID-19 at this point?
In terms of the personnel and the ability to manage a patient with COVID, yes, we are. In terms of, I think your colleague asked me earlier on another interview about the availability of oxygen. There's no report that there are insufficient supplies of oxygen if necessary, and so I can say with some certainty that we should be able to manage any surges that may arise at this time.
Mm-hmm. And just generally looking as we move forward, I just wanted to reiterate to those listening, what are the ways that we can ensure that we protect ourselves from contracting the COVID-19?
Right. So the first thing is that we should practice good hand hygiene. Try not to certainly have your hands in your face regularly. And don't you hold a surface or you do something, you should wash your hands. You should hand sanitize. You should also be wearing a face mask, particularly if you are going to be in a crowded area where you'll be closer than 6 feet to individuals. So if you're going to church, if you're going to a plaza that is full, you're going to Devon House to buy ice cream on a Sunday evening that is usually full, you should have on your face mask. If you're coughing, you should be ensuring that you're coughing into the elbow and not in your palm of your hand, and then hold on to a railing or to a countertop, and then someone else would come and do the same and then put their hands in their faces. So it's important that you follow good hand hygiene, social distancing, masking is always important. And if you are ill with respiratory symptoms, the best thing to do is to stay home from work, stay home from church, and most churches now have YouTube and other ways of streaming the service. Do that instead of going in and spreading the virus.
And as far as you're aware, within our health centers and the hospitals, we have enough vaccines available should Jamaicans decide that they want to go and be vaccinated or to get the booster?
At this point, I'm not quite sure of the level of stock that is available, and so I cannot speak definitively on that. I do know, however, that they do have some stocks, but I don't know the level of the stocks. I cannot say they have 20,000 doses available or they have 50,000 doses available.
All right,
the Ministry of Health and Wellness would have to give that information.
And that's something that we definitely have to follow up on. But thank you so much, Dr. Leslie Mead, the President of the Medical Association of Jamaica, the MAJ. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. I hope I gave some clarity.
Indeed, you did.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Mead. Well, listeners, stay with us. We'll be going over to Paris to speak with our sports editor, Wayne Walker, as we keep our pulse, or we should say keep our hand on the pulse of the Olympic Games. More after this.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Me, busy as usual, so I don't have no time for whole heap of paperwork. That's why I downloaded and signed up for my One JN Passport app. It's a whole new level of convenience and access to services within the JN Financial Group. Just a few taps on my smartphone and box. I can update my personal information, open a JN Bank savings account, and even apply for an unsecured loan. Get it all in one go. Download and sign up now. The One JN Passport app. JN will help you find a way.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun, putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fastwitch has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fastwitch Lifestyle. It's electric. Fastwitch, your energy world.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real ones. My island, we a world champion with my KFC. I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
Together we're our people standing strong. 3 million Jamaicans, let's work as one. Such a course and work with a plan. Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. Every Jamaican have the heart of a champion. Such a core, big up with champions. Watch my style, watch my skill, watch my flow. Standing out anywhere where we go. Many goals, many dreams, many strides. Are the black, green and gold, are we pride? Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. We are strong when we are one. Sagicor, celebrating Jamaican success.
Paris Connection with Wayne Walker is brought to you by the Sagicor Group. Out of many, one pulse.
Welcome back to the third and final hour at 7 p.m. and we are going over now to talk to Wayne Walker, Nationwide News' sports editor, who is over there in Paris. Good evening, Wayne.
Hey, good morning, Seven. It's 2 minutes past 2 Saturday morning.
You know, from now on, I think I'm going to actually ask you what the time is before I say good evening.
Yeah, it's always morning for Wayne when we have him on.
Don't stress it, man. Don't stress it. The important is that we're on.
So how are things shaping, Wayne? It looked like we had a bit of a rough day today in the Olympics following what I thought was the very much needed shot in the arm with the gold from Roger, but it seems that today was not quite as spectacular for the Jamaicans.
Yeah, it was always going to be difficult to match what Roger did a few nights ago. That was a gold medal performance, not only a gold medal performance, but an Olympic record-breaking performance. So it's always going to be difficult to top that unless you're going to win the gold and set a world record. So I'm not sure people were looking forward to that. They were looking for at least another medal of any kind, anything, you know, because so far Jamaica is number 37 on the medal standings with 6 medals, a gold, 3 silver, and 2 bronze medals, and they're not accustomed, the Jamaicans, certainly since the 2008 Olympics, to be this far down the standings with a day to go in the athletic stadium in the Stade de France. But today was an interesting day, to put it, let's not go further than that, but probably put a bittersweet, a mixed day for Jamaica, you know, because they contested 3 finals and got nothing from them. Jaden, he passed on his 6th and final jump. He exited at 17 meters 61. Was going to be good enough to get it done. He struggled, yeah. His last 3 jumps, he had 2 foul jumps in it, 2 no jumps in it. So he really, really struggled. I think he did a 17 meters 53 at one stage as well. But at this level, you've got to be touching 18. Well, nobody jumped 18 today, but to be certain of a medal, normally you do that. He said he fell awkwardly on one of his jumps. I think it's the 3rd jump, because he got the 17 meters 61 on the 2nd jump. But I think he fell hard on the 3rd jump, and he said he felt something and decided that he was going to withdraw. And he sat with his coach, and they talked about it. The coach was trying to convince him to get back out there. And he said, no, he has many more years ahead of him, and he doesn't want to try to force the issue and damage himself further. So he exited at 17 meters 61. He finished 4th, just off the medal podium. So for the 2nd straight championship running, following Budapest last year, when he suffered a hamstring injury on his very first jump, he went in as a prodigious talent, 18-year-old, the world at his feet, the longest jump in the world, NCAA champion, indoor and out, record holder, national champion. He had everything going for him last year in the Hungarian capital. and it ended badly on his first jump. And tonight, again, he wasn't able to complete, his allotment and passed on the final jump. But as he said, not many 19-year-olds can say they finished fourth in a final at the Olympic Games, and he has a lot to build on. The other final, we were in the 400 meters hurdles final. But before we get to that, we were in the 4x100 meters for women. The Jamaica team finished fifth. They were never, ever going to threaten for a medal. It was a matter of how well they were going to do, given what they had. And, they finished fifth, and nobody was surprised. And I suppose nobody was disappointed either, because there's not a lot that people were expecting of them. Not when Elaine, Shelley, and Sharika were not available for one reason or another. The United States duly won. Nobody expected the United States, unless they're going to drop the baton, which they're famous for. It didn't happen today, and once they didn't drop the baton, it was going to be very difficult to beat them. And then the last final that Jamaica was in today was the 400 meters hurdles, where Sean Clark, he was in medal contention coming off the 10th and final flight, hit one of the hurdles, hit the last hurdle. I think it was his trail leg that hit the hurdle. And he just struggled to keep his balance on a wet Stade de France track, and he stumbled. I just really wish that he had run across the line so he could get the points, but he didn't. He was almost in tears, and it's not easy to prepare for so many months, to come here to see it end the way it did for him. But he will learn as well. He's a world junior record holder, and I'm sure he knew exactly what went wrong today, and, better days are ahead of him for sure. So that was pretty much what it is for Jamaica today. In fact, it was disappointment in the early session, in the morning session, when two of the three Jamaicans fell apart in the 100-meter hurdles. Akira Nugent is the only one in the final tomorrow, and the final comes up at 12:35 p.m. Jamaica time. Yes, if memory serves me correctly, and I think it does. And then we've got Romain Beckford in the men's high jump final that gets underway at 1900 hours here in Paris, which is midday Jamaica time. And then Jamaica is in the last final of the championship, the women's 4x400 meters, which will bring the championship to a close. Mind you, there's a men's marathon on Sunday, but action in the stadium will come to a close tomorrow night with Jamaica in the 4x400 meters. 6 medals so far. How many more they can add to it? Let's see. There are 3 finalists tomorrow. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that we could, get another medal or 2.
And on a positive note, Wayne, we saw 3 Jamaican athletes receiving some long overdue medals at the reallocation ceremony. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So the reallocation ceremony was really, really nice. So there's a place called Champion Park, or Parc des Champions. It's across from, it's in Chocadelis, where the opening ceremony ended, and it's just in front of the Eiffel Tower. So what it is actually, the Parc des Champions, or the Champion Park, is a venue. It's a fan zone sort of, where I'm just guessing here. I don't do very well in estimating numbers, but I think I'd be safe to say about 9, 10, possibly even 11,000 people are. And it's a sort of a mini stadium kind of. What they really wanted to do was to sort of capture a stadium sort of atmosphere. And to do that successfully, they needed something small and intimate. The crowd is very close. So almost in the middle of the crowd, they erected a runway sort of, where the athletes could come down, so everybody could get close to them, and the atmosphere is nice. There's a lot of music and a lot of sound and so on. So yeah, it was a really, really good thing. And the backdrop of the Eiffel Tower is always going to make everything beautiful, and the towering masterpiece, just, almost looking down on them. And so Khalees and Chelsea and Beverly, they were there, resplendently dressed in their Jamaican colors, collecting medals that they should have gotten years ago and didn't. And all 3 of them, almost in unison, was telling me that, it's bittersweet, but they're happy in the end because they deserve it. And though it came, years later, they were very appreciative of it. In fact, Khalees Spencer, she has a son, and he was pretty much aware of what was going on. And she said, maybe it's a blessing in disguise that she didn't get it then, because now her son is with her, and he understands the sort of work that she put in over a long career. And for Beverly, her husband Raymond Stewart, a former Jamaican national representative and many-time national champion and Olympic finalist, he was there to support as well. And Khalees had Christine Day and Sherika Williams, who won medal for Jamaica and multiple Olympic Games. It was a really nice coming together of the Jamaican, community and the Jamaican athletes who were supposed to have gotten their medal. It was just really, really beautiful to see.
And Wayne, I'm curious though, for example, in the case of Marion Jones's 200-meter medal all the way back from the 2000 Olympics, why did it take them this long to reallocate these medals?
Well, it's a process, yeah? And one of the things that happened was that there were people, actually, who were lobbying. Beverly McDonald told me today that it was her husband, Raymond Stewart, who kept pushing for it and saying, no, it has to. And eventually it was sent to Jamaica. And it was lost. It got lost in the system and was sent back, yeah? So she really should have gotten hers a long time ago. Khalees's, to be fair, wasn't a long time ago. Neither was Chelsea Hammond, because they were both in Beijing, both in London as well, yeah? So it wasn't a very long time ago. And I suppose long is subjective, because some people, a day is long, for some 10 is long. But it really should have been done a lot earlier. And interestingly, it's not only the 3 Jamaicans, there are 10 people, because Lashinda Demas, who was in that 400 hurdles that Khalees got her medal for, Lashinda from the USA got her gold medal today. And so there were some other countries. And, the IOC decided once and for all that, listen, if it means making medals, what they had to do, though, was to make the medals the same way they were in the years that they were supposed to have gotten it, as opposed to making it like what Roger got. Roger won was very heavy. I held it in my hand yesterday, and it was weighing me down, So they made them in the style and design that they were in the years that they should have won them, because they wanted everything to fit into those years. And, better late than never, they say. We could question from now until the cows come home why they get it now. But they're all happy people. What I'm sure they all would have been happier with was that now that people are getting money, at least the winners at the Olympic Games, it would have been, the situation then when they were supposed to have gotten their medals, because then a pay package would have to come with it as well.
Mm-hmm. And I know, Wayne, a lot of introspection will have to be done after the end of this Olympics, because Jamaica didn't perform so well. Where do you think we need to start when we examine the performance of the Jamaican team and how we move forward?
Very interesting question. First of all, it starts with a report from the chief of mission, the chef de mission. And his report will give an indication as to where best to start. And every team, countries that compete at the Olympic Games, at the end of it, their associations look forward to a report from their chef de mission, because without that you can't address. The only thing you'll have is what's on the surface, and what's clear to us. Jamaica did not do as well as they, people, wanted to or expected them to. And you've got to also include the fact that some of the major stars got injured or just didn't compete for one reason or another at the Olympic Games, So there's so many areas you can look at it from, but it starts with that report from the chief of mission, and then they I suppose attack it item by item. And then when they finish looking at the report and to sort of, sort out the different items that will be pointed out for sure, then they probably could look to see if there is anything that affected what happened inside, and then attack that as well. But it will be very interesting to see what the Mr. Ian Kelly's report is going to be. That will determine how they move forward.
And thus, finally, from me, Wayne, looking back now on Roger Stoner's excellent performance, do you think this would be the catalyst for Jamaican, the apparatus, the sports apparatus in Jamaica, to take the field events more seriously, so that the athletes don't necessarily have to go overseas to seek that guidance?
Well, I hope it does. And to be fair, Roger is one of those rare ones who have gone overseas. The big ones, when they come through champs and do well, they normally stay at home, because in Julian Robinson, they have one of the best coaches in the world, one of the best throw coaches in the world. In fact, he is responsible for Jamaica's renaissance in the throwing event. So Rajay is a rare one that goes overseas. They mostly stay here. Well, I say here, stay in Jamaica and do their stuff. But you're right. We hope that the authorities will use what Rajay did and kick on from here, because what he has done and has done, I suppose, for until the next Olympic cycle is to shine the light, brighter on Jamaica's throwing. The only drawback here is if he decides to go play in the NFL and compete in the off season of the NFL in track and field, or does he give it up altogether? He told me he has a decision to make. I don't know what the decision is. I don't know who's going to have the conversation with. I suppose his manager and his family and coach and so on. But he could be heading to the NFL, and the track and field absolutely can't compete with the NFL when it comes to remuneration. And any smart individual like Roger, a very smart guy and a very well qualified guy, I think he's an engineer, would know. I mean, the NFL money is miles ahead of what he will get, for a shot for his exploits in the discus. And even though he's the Olympic champion and Olympic record holder, and it should attract additional money, it pales in comparison to what he would get to just train in the NFL. So he has a decision to make. He's just 25 years old, and he wants to secure his future. And if he was my son, I know what he'd be doing.
Thank you, Wayne. Nationwide News sports reporter over there. Sports editor, let me not downgrade your status there, Wayne. Over there in Paris, keeping track of things for us. All the best as you head into this day, Mr. Walker.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Have a good one.
And have a good morning, not a good evening. Have a good morning, sir.
I struggle. I got lost today, if I might just throw this in. I got lost in the city today for the first time. Normally, I miss the train line, not the train itself. So I'll come off line 1 and to go on line 6. So I'm in, say, for instance, Shot de Gaulle Etoile, and I want to go at the fence. I'll come out the train, get off Shot de Gaulle Etoile in line 1, and I'm supposed to go on line 6, and I'll just completely miss it up. What happened this morning, I went for a run, and while I was running, I was trying to mark the place that I'm running, and it's a spot that I've gone to before, but this time I went further, and so when I turned to come back down, I realized that I don't know what happened. And then suddenly I'm on different streets and on different boulevards. And then when I finally decided to ask somebody, because I left my phone and I left my train ticket and I left my money, because I went for a morning run. So I had nothing. And when I stopped to ask this volunteer at one of the stops, she said, well, you're 1 hour and 42 minutes away from your hotel. What? And I say, it can't be. So she went into Google and I say, she brought it up and I said, no, show me the building, because there could be more than one Acacia Etoile. And when she brought it up, I was stunned. And then she had to give me €4 to buy a train ticket. And I went almost around Paris before I got back. So I was on the road at 7 running, and I got back to the hotel at midday.
Wow.
I'm surprised to hear that, Wayne. I thought you would know France, but almost like the back of your, particularly Paris, almost by the back of your hand now.
Not quite. But Siobhan, let me tell you, I was shocked that I didn't remember the way to come back, because while I was running, as I say, it's an area that I visited before. I went to the pharmacy the other day to get some Strepsil. So I know the place well. It's just this time I went further away from my locale, because I'm in Argentine. I'm in the district of Argentine. So I went further away from Argentine. In fact, she was telling me, one of the times she said to me, you've got to go up to Boulevard Haussmann. There's a massive boulevard called Boulevard Haussmann. And she said, go up Boulevard Haussmann. And when I started walking, so I said to somebody, am I on Boulevard Haussmann? They said, where are you going? And I say, the Arc de Triomphe, because I'm living close to Arc. And I said, wow, you sure you want to walk to the Arc de Triomphe? And I said, why? to stay up over an hour away from
Far, yes.
It was crazy this morning. And the worst thing, I didn't have breakfast, I decided that I was going to come back to the hotel to have breakfast after my run. I ended up coming back at midday. I almost fainted because I had no money, as I told you. So
you're brave, Wayne. You're brave because whenever I travel and I'm outside, I have my phone with me so that you can quickly go into maps and if you get lost to find your way around. That was brave. Yeah. But I know it was a run that you were taking, but still.
Yeah. I find it very heavy on me, the phone, and I also find it a bit distracting. When I go out on my runs, if I'm not listening to something, then I don't want to have something on me. And I was 100% sure that, in fact, when I left out to run, I had an idea where I was going to go and get back. But I was feeling it. People who run, after a while, you start to sweat and the adrenaline, you want to go further. And that's what happened with me today. I had no intention of going where I went today. And that is why I left the stuff. And the phones were charging because after work today, I have to go down to the reallocations and medals and then to the start of the fund. So I say, you know what? While I'm out running, let the phones charge. So that was the idea behind it.
All right, Wayne.
But it was one of those days. I enjoyed it, though.
At least you got the exercise out of it. So it's a silver lining to every cloud.
Because there's no morning session tomorrow.
Okay. All right, Wayne. Have a good morning, and I trust everything will work out into the afternoon.
Take care.
So that is Wayne Walker, our sports editor. We're going to take a quick break and come back with your calls. The numbers are 630-9371-4 and 618-8255. Come chat with us.
Paris Connection with Wayne Walker was brought to you by the Sagicor Group. Out of many, one pulse.
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real ones. My island, we a world champion with my KFC, I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15 or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
Experience togetherness this Easter, embarking on a one-of-a-kind adults-only retreat in a world where swaying palms meet endless sunsets. All-inclusive indulgence awaits here at Hideaway at Royalton Blue Waters. Tap into an all-in luxury vacation experience when you book between April 1 to 30. Contact us. Dial 876-632-7401. That's 876-632-7401. Speak to your local sales agent today.
Rhino Jamaica Limited invites all industry professionals to its pumps and septic tank seminar. Calling all plumbers, electricians, contractors and hardwares to join us on August 20th in Montego Bay and in Kingston on August 22nd. Registration is free, so you don't want to miss. WhatsApp us at 876-551-6565 or see the press and social media for details.
We all have a champion spirit, a uniquely Jamaican spirit. We think the unthinkable and reach for the unreachable. The steady pulse of greatness beats in us all. As powerful as we are, there comes a time when everybody needs a strength. Something to take you over that last hurdle and across the finish line. Your moment is now. Unstoppable with NCB.
And what you think? Pure water we drink. Me say a pure vibe when we touching at the street. A pure water we a drink. A pure fun, pure dance and taste. Right now. A pure water we a drink. I could have room temperature. Give me one more. Give me the summer hearts are chilled one outdoor. Crisp and refreshing, we know that for sure. The water we drink is pure. Everybody know. Hey, hey. Refreshing and nice. Hey, hey. The best water you can find. Pure water we drink.
Calling all ladies to Zana Ladies Expo, the ultimate ladies' day out. Saturday, August 10 at the National Arena, 12 noon to 8 p.m. Featuring over 100 exhibitors, shopping deals, beauty, fashion, food, wine tasting, health and wellness, keynote speakers, live entertainment, and more. Tickets available at ladiesexpoja.com. Gate admission $1,500, children $500. Zana Ladies Expo, August 10, National Arena. Sponsored by Massey Distribution, JPS and
KFC this summer, we a bucket together. Well, I vibe with your crew, yeah, we a stay true, the taste is so good. KFC, bucket on the ends with the real ones. My island, we a world champion with my KFC. I'm gonna be me, jam rock, celebrate with we. KFC, we a bucket together.
When we bucket together, we are as we really are. Enjoy a family 12, party 15, or party 21 bucket. KFC, proud sponsor of Jamaica 60.
We all have a champion spirit, a uniquely Jamaican spirit. We think the unthinkable and reach for the unreachable. The steady pulse of greatness beats in us all. As powerful as we are, there comes a time when everybody needs a strength. Something to take you over that last hurdle and across the finish line. Your moment is now. Unstoppable with NCB.
Welcome back to Nationwide 5. We're into the third and final hour, and we're taking your calls. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Faithful, you're on the line.
Good evening, Sanjay. Good evening.
Evening, Faithful. How you doing?
Good evening, Faithful.
Blessed Lord. Okay, two things. One, I just want to say how appreciative I am for the guy that take part in the Olympics. I believe they tried their best. I believe they give their all, and I really appreciate them. And the coverage nationwide, that was super. The analysts and all that, I think the coverage was best. Even though we did not get our art desire, the amount of medal that we were expecting, we did not receive it. But I truly want to give thanks and tell them how glad and how appreciative we are of them.
Yes.
That being said, next one, JPS. I think JPS is treating us with scant regard. And everything that we use in Jamaica run with energy. The water and the phone and everything that we use run with energy. I don't believe what JPS is doing to the people in Central Tibet and some part in Jamaica. Even though me might have light, but I think it's very heart-rending. That's what they're doing. I think this should come under national security, because if a private company can cheat us in such a way, and as Mr. Val said that they're under tied, there's not much they can do. I don't think a foreign company should have the power and authority to do this.
But
you know, security to relieve us, this doesn't right.
If I can flip it a bit though, Faithful, because the JPS indicated that in St. Elizabeth, they're in a sense rebuilding the entire network because of the damage that was done, and it will take time. Are we being fair to the JPS? And I'm just flipping it.
Yes,
understanding the magnitude of work that they have to do in the area.
Yes, I think we're fair based on the fact that I think was it Mr. Vaz who said they were going to get outside help?
Yes.
And JPS saying the amount of money what they were charged, they're going to have to pay them.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, if they want to speed up things, they could have put out more effort for the people. I might have liked them, but can you imagine the people who don't have life so much weeks, months?
Mm-hmm. So you're saying then if they had been more proactive and get individuals to come in
there's a whole lot more
quicker.
they can do.
Yeah.
And because they feel and know that they're very local at the government, anybody can do that. That's why they treat us like this.
Well, you see, in an environment, Faithful, where you have a lack of competition, these are the things that happen. I promise you, if JPS had greater competition, you probably wouldn't have seen the type of treatment that you mentioned earlier.
But maybe there's nothing government can do with the contract. I think they should take away. Well, we organize the contract that they sign with them.
The contract that governs the JPS is under the Electricity Act, I believe, which is currently under review, and their actual contract is up for review in 2 years, I believe, is the case.
So it is not security threat?
Well, the energy grid is a national security concern.
Yeah. It should not happening, man. It should not be that JPS have to cheat us like this.
But that's why we have the OUR faithful. It's their job to keep JPS in line.
And what the OUR said that they're charging them $2 million.
Which I don't think any Jamaican believes that is a fair enough penalty.
That is a bigger insult. And if it's a fact that OUR is supposed to look out for our interest, is that looking out for our interest?
I believe the 2 million is the maximum they're allowed under the law. So that is the fault of the government in that instant case.
That makes it even more insulting. If that is the case, there is no incentive for the JPs to do anything different from what they are doing. No interest at all for them to do anything like that. Because they feel they can do anything and get away with it. And that cannot be right. And people are suffering.
I hear you, faithful, but I mean, I don't think competition is the actual cure to this problem, because JPS, considering the size of Jamaica, is a natural monopoly. It has to be a monopoly for it to function efficiently. But in this instant case, the OUR and the government, through weak regulations over the years, has dropped the ball. And I think there's been a recognition. The law
and the regulation need to change.
Yes, and I think there has been a recognition from both sides of the political aisle, from all walks of government, that yes, we dropped the ball here and it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, man, but Jamaican people, it cannot be right. No way. People are suffering, you know. No, that cannot be right. And it doesn't seem to me like JP is moving no sense of alacrity. They just feel they can do that. They know they can do that because we're gonna blackboard it, and afterward they're gonna clear and just that cannot be right, man. People are suffering.
I hear you, faithful, and I agree with you.
Okay.
Omalo, evening. You're on the line.
Good evening, Siobhan. Good evening, Sanjay.
Good evening, Amalo.
Siobhan, that is your opinion that the market is too small for competition. That is not a study, right?
Well, I believe a study was conducted a while back. There are certain situations where you have natural monopolies, and in the instant case of Jamaica and its size, and you can use a case study for almost any other Caribbean country or any other small island developing state, the procurement and not necessarily the procurement, but the provision of electricity is almost always done by a single party.
Yeah, but it is not something. There can be an exception.
There can be an exception to any rule.
Okay.
Well,
there was a suggestion on the table, though.
We heard of this in the latter industry, where a company was coming on, and we heard that government taxes would go down and all of these type of stuff, which didn't work out that way. And a new company was added to the gaming industry.
But we're not talking about providing gambling services.
Yeah. No, if I could just jump in, though, Umala, there was a suggestion on the table before where there is a provider that generates the power, and then you have several different providers that distribute. Because that is a model that is utilized in some countries. So therefore, the person who generates would then distribute to the different companies who would then supply to the different people within the market. That could be a model that we adopt also.
We could do that. There are possibilities. But you know what one of the things that I'm watching and I'm asking, is the OUR a creature of Parliament?
As in the OUR? It is a creature of Parliament. It is a government body, but it is a separate government body in terms of it operates based on the Electricity Act, but it is not
how it operates. It is the laws written by
agreed.
The government that let it operate this way.
Yes, it is.
So it is not in isolation of what it is doing.
And nobody is claiming it isn't.
No, but I'm seeing politicians running around as if they don't know the laws or they don't know what is going on with the OUR.
or the structure by which it operates and loading up and all these type of things. That's what I'm saying.
But I've seen an acknowledgement from both the Energy Minister and the Prime Minister that yes, we can't directly interfere with the operations of the OUR, but we have to take it to Parliament and change the laws as it is.
And we just know after 8 years that these are the problems just because Jamaica was on an autopilot and now a little thing shake the pilot grabbed up the wheel now and find out that no, the plane no right.
It's unfortunate, but experience tends to be the greatest teacher, don't it, Omalo?
It's experience, but we have to be proactive. If we are building a nation, we can't just wait until something always happens and then we are trying to solve that problem and a whole heap of problem ahead of us to deal with.
You're not going to find a disagreement with me there, Omalo, but sometimes something has to come to a head for people to get into their heads that something needs to change.
Too much excuses and our lowering of our standard is by accepting excuses. The lowering of Jamaican standard is accepting excuses. Why we don't put real excuses? Have we no standard by which we can say we can strive? And when we strive and we have done our best, there is nothing evil to really contest it about. Everything we have done in this country, and we reach to this point, we can contest it and see the amount of mistakes we have made. And then we still have excuse for the mistakes. When we ever going to be a nation where we stand up and accept these things and say, no, we can no longer make decisions these ways.
Well, in this instant case, Omalo, I think everybody's just agreed that it can't continue as it is. It's as you write, it's unfortunate it took the category 4 Hurricane Beryl to put us at this point.
Just a little win. We don't want you to catch it. We don't want to make it seem more than what it really was. Yeah? We don't want to do it. Because you see, we have to be careful how we report to the Jamaican people. We have to be the voice. We have to lift these people up out of the situation, of the mental state that they are in, for them to start accepting more and want more, and know what is more, and know that we can get better, Or else we are going to stay in the same space over and over, hoping that somebody come and do it for us. The media have a great responsibility as to how they disseminate the message to the people.
But let me ask you this question, Omalo. Up until Beryl hit us, we were being given assurances from JPS that everything was in order. We're fine. We're good. We can weather this storm.
Mm-hmm. So which country should leave its people to profit seekers to tell them that everything is fine? Which government that's supposed to represent the people, that's supposed to be there and say, no, I have to make sure what you are telling me is okay. Who you are, you must create within it a department or whatsoever to go out and do an assessment, because I want my people them to be okay.
But said this department exists, Omalo. It's called the Office of the Utilities Regulation.
Yeah, and Omalo, to be fair, the JPS would have provided a report indicating the level of preparedness. The only way to test it is actually when the storm
when the rubber hits the road
would have happened. Yeah.
No, man, you have engineers that do these things. That's why Japan built out that can face magnitude of an 8-degree earthquake. Isn't that way they wait until they face it? No, then no.
But Omalo, I see you bring up an interesting case, because the Japanese also had a nuclear meltdown after their own people had told them everything is fine. We can withstand an earthquake. We can withstand a tidal wave, and they learned a very valuable lesson that sometimes those things can't be taken as seriously as they suggest.
Okay,
but sometimes lessons have to be learned, Omalo.
Yeah, we will always learn after the fact. And we will always be proactive. Jamaican people, you will be punished and keep on being punished. And every time we get punished, then we fix what we get punished for and keep moving on. Don't worry, you will be safe.
All right, Omalo.
Okay.
All the best.
William, evening.
Good evening, Siobhan. Evening, Mr. William. Hello?
It's Sanjay
Yes.
Lewis, not Miss. It's
Sanjay.
Sanjay.
Oh, Mr. Lewis. Sorry about that.
Good evening. That's fine. No worries. Good evening.
Yeah, man, I have a concern right now, you see?
Mm-hmm.
Because I am thinking now, our politicians, they come to us to vote for them in our interest. They are the ones tell us that they will do our business and make sure things work out for you in the best way. And when they take their responsibility and create an agency and hand it over to the agency without they have no power to control this agency or whatever, we the people who they came to, we cannot go to JPS or go to OU office because we never vote for them. They never come to us, conduct, we vote. The politicians do it. So why they take their responsibility and create this agency and put it to them, which have no power to control, and left us in problem now?
Because there's a good reason for that. We've learned from the past that when things have been left in the hands of the politicians and things have become politicized as a result, that we've adopted this very much hands-off approach to a lot of state agencies. And as a result of that, we have reaped some unfortunate blunders because of it.
I understand that, but at the same time, when you create this agency, there's some way the minister should have some form of power to direct or whatever problem create, that they can be able to go in and say, no, it cannot work. It needs to adjust now.
That's the Electricity Act. I don't know about the now aspect of it, but the Electricity Act gives the minister certain powers in terms of setting regulatory policies.
Mm-hmm. You see, I understand, but it's still yet, we, the customers, are the people who are suffering. Right? And all the minister can tell you, he will exercise in political muscle. He cannot go no further.
But you see, William, we also have to. All right, finish the point and then I'll respond. Go ahead.
No, sir. And the OUR now, we're supposed to really we have the power, I can't tell me, understand from the minister, to do something. They come like a lame duck. Mm. Right? The only time you see the OUR come up is when they decide to give increase to these agents, to these utilities company. Mm-hmm. And also have a concern of this charge what they call service charge. What is the purpose of a service charge? Are we getting benefit for our money when in California a service charge?
One of the things, though, William, that we have to be very careful of, and I hear you as it relates to the government and what they ought to do. We have to separate political interference, right, which is very important. However, I will accept that when things are not going right, people are looking to the government for them to respond. And in this instance, the government will have to go back to look at the necessary legislation, including the one that governs the OUR, to see what are the changes that they need to make to give the OUR more powers to deal with the electricity providers and just generally the utility providers overall. So there are some changes that has to come. And that is where I think the government now has to look. But in terms of the direct interference, that I definitely will not support. There has to be a distinction between the politicians and what they're supposed to do, which is to focus on legislation and just general governance, and those, for example, within the OUR to look at regulation.
You know why me personally and many of us in our age not support these things? We was there when we saw government running all of the utilities company, and they used to run good. Is these things...
No. They run good?
We're not young bird.
Not that young, though. I remember with load shedding, when I was up at University of West Indies in my 20s, and power could almost set your clock that it's going to go on every Wednesday.
Well, I know, Siobhan, that's what I'm saying. You're a young bird.
But I don't know if you can suggest, the government ran most of these utilities into the ground, which is why they had to be sold and divested.
Because bad governor for the last 35, 40 years or so. That is the problem.
No, but that is the inherent problem that Sanjay has pointed out. These entities end up being politicized and being used to win elections and being milked and drained and being employed and having people employed there as political hacks until they got ran into the ground and could no longer serve the purpose of the people. So I don't know how you believe that somehow putting it back into that situation is an improvement.
No, but the point is we have to talk about our experience who is there a long time. Because I can tell you, in the 50, 60, the thing where they call low shedding power outage and so, that them used to call.
Because in the 50s and 60s, these companies were brand new and shiny. The
And
rot hadn't set in
I'll go a
yet.
little further, Siobhan, to say the level of development that we're seeing.
Not really brand new, no. But they maintain very good. You have people who really know what they're doing, people who put their heart out to service these companies, include the Water Commission, include the telephone company. All of them use up and running proper. It's still pop down thing we have now.
But do you know why them pop down now today? It's because of the politicians, you know.
For the last 35, 40 years.
But that is my point. You can't escape from that point. The government ran these utilities into the ground and had to divest themselves of it because they could not run them any further into the ground.
Well, that's for sure that the government, they never have no interest in the Jamaican people, because when they have it, it's unreached to that. I can tell you that. They never have the interest what was here before. Everybody just wants a quick money or a quick power, and then do what they want to do, and then go about them is the country in problem.
But that is the inherent flaw of politics. People want to stay in power, and when in those times people needed to stay in power, they look to the state agencies, which they believe have all the money and all the resources that they can tap into to ensure that they stay in power. And when we learn those lessons, we say, all right, no, you cannot have that. You can't have control over the entire kitty. We have to limit your access to the kitty, because it's clear that if you have full access to it, you don't mean the Jamaican people well. And that has been Jamaica's history.
That is when the house gone through the gate late. we the Jamaican people are being punished over these things.
That we agree on. You know.
Right? And it needs to stop. It never used to be like this, and it needs to stop. We have so much people say them really catty running this country, and they cannot fix nothing if we make the Jamaican people have a little better off. But it continue. Your telephone is like gone right now. Me not no telephone. It's gone. Mm-hmm. It never used to.
But that's because I think that's just a natural progression of technology, though, because we don't use landlines anymore, essentially. So everybody use cell phone now.
No, the problem, they cut out the copper line and put in the fiber line. You know, see it. And fiber line is not capable enough.
But there's greater benefit, though, Will. There's greater benefit, though, to the fiber line. You have to understand exactly what Siobhan is saying. The technology has improved. The fiber lines are better. However, the towers need the power to function. And because you don't have the power, if the power goes, then you have issues with the towers not functioning. And in addition to that, you will hear the telecoms companies say they have installed generators and people are stealing the gasoline.
Yeah, I heard them all well. I heard them. But there's something with them, sir. I am not buying it.
All right, William,
I'm not buying it.
We have to give some other callers a chance, you know. So thank you for calling in.
Thank you, William.
Bob, you're on the line. Good evening.
Yeah, man. You know, I am hearing this thing about JPS. Jamaican chat too much, you know. And they chat because they don't know what is happening. The bottom line is that JPS is robbing Jamaican straight off the rail. In 2004, the government of this country at that time grant JPS the right to charge us $8,000 for each customer for insurance. The only company in the world that other persons have to pay insurance to insure their property. That cost Jamaican people $1.6 billion. That is after JPS refused to and did not maintain their plant. They did not cut the trees, which they have the right to do, to cut down my prize tree, which is deemed to be too close to the power lines. The same thing happens now because JPS has not maintained their lines for the past 10 years. When some column come on national television and talk about how the breeze was so high and the wind was so high. Breeze can't blow down light pole and blow down wires.
Why breeze can't blow it
down? It is the trees that the wind blow down, and the trees fell on the wires and tear down the poles.
But in some instances, though, the strength of the wind can cause those poles
Sir,
to fall.
Come in my community in Eltham in St. Anne. There's a light pole that is a new light pole that they planted and did not plant it deep enough. 4 years ago, that light pole fell down because of a little rain. A manager came and claimed that he has a crew to fix it. All they did was to remove the transformers from the light pole and put it onto another one. Use the truck to brace up the light pole somewhat and tie it to a ackee tree. I said to the Englishman who live across the road from the light pole that they won't be fixing it. And today, 4 years after, the light pole is still there and the wire dangling overhead.
And have you reported that to the JPS? Have you reported that to the JPS?
It has been reported. I have the number for the light pole. I reported the manager of the information. The manager came there, and up to today, the light pole has not been corrected. No, I want you guys to get JPS on the line to ask them why they have not cut down the trees and trimmed the trees and cleaned the lines for the past 10 years. I am challenging you now to tell me where in Jamaica for the past 10 years you saw a truck cutting down the trees which are deemed to be too close.
To be fair, I have seen it. To be fair.
Yes, you have seen it. You have seen it once in 10 years.
But I will say to the extent that it should be done, maybe greater work needs to be done.
Common sense is that if it's supposed to be done on a monthly basis and it is done on a yearly basis, it is regarded as not being done. And sir, I would like you to get the lady bring some column to explain to Jamaicans who she believe are idiots as to how the breeze can blow down light pole and wires.
But the strength of the wind can do that. It is possible.
Yes.
So let us just put that out
if
there.
we have 20,000 light poles and the wind blow down 5, nothing is wrong with that. The ones I saw is that the light poles are rotted. The light poles are old. There is not one concrete light pole that is blown down. I challenge you. There is not one concrete light pole that is blown down. All that is blown down is some old retired light pole which should have changed 10 years ago, which was not. What happened to the 1.6 billion that they collect for insurance? I am making a prediction. JPS is going to ask the government by the end of this year for money. They asked for insurance money and got 1.6 billion in 2004. They are going to come back by December and ask for assess or something or some big word or some big name to get back the money. All you are is this next set that is a waste of time.
Remember though, let me just clarify something. Remember that is why they have the disaster fund. So that the JPS, and they did draw down on the disaster fund to help with the restoration effort. So I don't foresee them coming to the Jamaican people to ask
so what about the
to pay back
insurance money
anything.
that they collected 1.6 billion then? And if they had collected that from Jamaicans, which is 1.6 billion in 2004, and they restored the electricity, then they should have that as an excess to put towards insurance to be benefiting now. I put me on record and store my number. By December, JPS is going to ask the government for some way, somehow, to add to our electricity. I did not have electricity for 10 days last month.
I don't know if they're going to ask the government.
And I have a bill now which is showing $8,000 more. That I burn $8,000 more electricity this year, not having electricity for 10 days.
What I believe could potentially happen is that they will ask the OUR for a rate adjustment.
It is criminality. Remember that JPS has been adding to our bills. We who pay our bills and are legal on the system.
Yes.
JPS has been robbing us for over 15 years or 20 years by adding to our bill what they claim to be theft. Yet, on a yearly basis, they are declaring in their report that they have lost. Let us use some words. Let us use some figures. They are adding to us who are paying, padding our bills, saying it's for theft. Yet they are declaring at the end of the year how much they have lost because of theft. Then they go ahead and ask the government to offset the cost of theft. So they are collecting 3 times for the money of theft. People are not realizing that JPS is here only to thief. When you call JPS and make a report that fire is on the line, they take 8 hours to come.
What is certain, though? What is certain coming from this discussion, Siobhan and listener, is that we have to examine the work of the OUR from Parliament standpoint to give them greater powers, and we also have to look on the act governing the JPS, and it's up for review. The licensing agreement is up for review. So certainly we have to see some changes, and that may possibly be the blessing in disguise from this unfortunate storm to fix the challenges, because on both sides, the JPS, they have significant challenges, but also from the side of the OUR and the government, there are things that they ought to fix too.
Precisely. I mean, the government likes to talk about pain points in the country, and trust me, one thing that Hurricane Beryl has shown is that the JPS is one of the most significant pain points in the country.
Because of dishonesty. You see, let me shed some light on something. JPS is complaining that they have standby, the utilities company, the phone companies, that they have standby plant and people are thieving this and people are thieving that. The reason the people are thief from JPS and the phone companies is because that they are thieving people for years now. Now, if they get the people to believe in them and be honest to them, the people that protect their plant, But because they thief everybody for a year, if a person see where there's an opportunity to thief from them, they are going to do it, They are not going to be patriotic to them because they are not patriotic to us. No, you're not addressing the point that I am asking, The money, the 1.6 billion that JPS got for insurance, Omar Davis authorized them to put on our bill in 2004. What has become to that money? I have not heard one person from the media ask the JPS to explain it.
And that's the Hurricane Ivan recovery fund that you're speaking of. But remember that
it
they
was
would have
$8,000. I paid $8,000.
No, I remember too, because I paid it. But remember, what the JPS did is that they cost the total amount that it cost them to rebuild, and then
spread it out.
Some calculation was done and was spread across the bill.
No, my point is you have a motor vehicle, sir, and you buy this motor vehicle for $20 million. And you don't insure your motor vehicle. But when the motor vehicle mash up, you are going to sue the government.
Carlo, I'm sorry, but I'm getting the wrap-up signal. It's 7:59, I understand your frustration.
I asked them to explain that insurance money that I paid.
All right.
$8,000 for everybody.
All right. Understood, Carlo, but getting the wrap-up signal. Boy, I can say now, Jamaicans are frustrated with that lighted power company. There's
and I'm
no
seeing
doubt about
quickly,
it.
Siobhan, Annie Smith is saying that we need to invite Philip Paulwell. I just want to say that we did extend an invitation to him to be on today, and he indicated that he's unavailable.
Very well. So, well, thank you, Sanjay, for joining us as usual, and thank you to our listeners or viewers and or WhatsAppers or tweeps and all those on social media. Thanks to our super producer Dana Davey, our technical operator Andrew Glenn Anderson, and my compatriots and friends in the news and production department led by the capable Cara Powell and George Davis. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And I'm Sanjay Lewis, and we're wishing for you a wonderful evening.
And have a good evening.
We all have a champion spirit, a uniquely Jamaican spirit. We think the unthinkable and reach for the unreachable. The steady pulse of greatness beats in us all. As powerful as we are, there comes a time when everybody needs a strength.